Yeah, we're going live. Hello, hello. Are we live?
Hello.
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 Welcome to my my wind up stream of today's Sunday stream, and we have the absolute privilege to be joined by Bazza, who's a serial lurker on the side chat. And of course, we have James, who is, of course, the Tory shitstain that everybody knows him for. We've got John Cooper, and of course, the meme factory himself, Mr. Cam. So, is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Oh, Baz is just gone.
I'm sure he returned. I'm sure people. Anyway, what did you want to discuss? Because I missed a bit of the stream because I was a bit busy watching the Ryder Cup, and so I missed a bit, mainly about Labour Party conference because there was something that I wanted to discuss. I'm not sure if you did mention it or it was about
about the Labour Party conference. Then go for it because I've pretty much done all that shit. And welcome back, Bazza.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I wasn't in the stream to just give my views on the Labour Party conference.
Okay.
Now I touched on it briefly when I was talking about the Conservatives and them needing to offer an alternative to Corbyn's Labour or Corbyn's populist policies by Labour. I think someone pulled me up on it saying Labour's but what I just wanted to say was is Corbyn's speech was good because it was the first speech, it was the first leader speech he's ever done as leader. I thought that he was kind of relaxed and in control of his party.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw that gradually over the Labour conference days. There was no splits within the Labour Party that people were projecting it to. But the problem with the Labour Party is at the fringe event not fringe events, but you had John McDonnell contradicting what the shadow Brexit secretary said. You had I think it was like Richard Bergen, who's like a shadow minister, applauding a Labour MP calling for a general strike.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, them sort of things are what people will remember from the Labour Party conference will be People's Vote, general strike, and Corbyn's speech in that order. Now, to be fair, the Labour Party conference could have been 10 times worse than it could have been. It could have been rifled with freaking anti-Semitism debate or Brexit going tenfold. But to be fair to the Labour members and the Labour Party, they kind of unified, surprisingly, more than I thought. So it was a relatively good conference for Labour. They got some policies out. I feel like they've let themselves down on the pitch on Brexit because like I said, you have the shadow chancellor who said, "Oh no, there won't be Remain on the table," and then you had the shadow Brexit secretary a few hours later, I think, saying, "Yep, Remain will be on the table." There seems to be a contradiction within the own cabinet. But overall, it probably was a good conference by Labour. It could have been much, much worse.
So wait, what did you think of last year's conference then, Mr. Fielding?
Last year's conference was just a celebration of Corbyn. It was like, look at Corbyn. He defied the odds in some way. He gained seats. He should stay on, and that was about it. He just come off an election, so there wasn't policies being unveiled because they unveiled all the policies at the election. But this time around, they had to give some policies out because 1 year after. It was okay, probably last year, but it was more of like a symbolic victory.
So it feels more like
James.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper, sorry. As much as I sorry, John Cooper, not James. But to both of you, as much as I enjoy reminiscing about last year's kind of conventions and stuff, like what I really want to do is talk to Bazza, because he's quite new here. So like everybody knows, like, you know, the guys in the side chat, you know, James, you know, John Cooper, obviously, you know, me, you know, the meme factory that is Cameron Hickman. But we have actually here Bazza. So Bazza, can you introduce yourself, mate?
Can you hear me all right? Because I don't know if this is the first time I've used this mic ever, so I don't even know if it works properly.
Yeah, it works. It works.
And my voice is really low as well.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We've got you, man. It's all good.
Yeah, I think I should just, before I start, because I know that my voice is going to sound strange, and I laboured because I've got a disability, like a breathing disability. So just speaking is quite difficult to do. So that's why I type a lot. So it's quite hard to do this, but I'll push on through, you know.
Oh, thank you very much for doing this for us. I really appreciate it, and I really am honoured at the fact that you wanted to make your debut on my channel. I think that's fucking awesome. Actually, thank you very much.
I think it's just because it frustrated me. I wanted to go on to Angel's vegan debate, and then when I missed it, and I just thought, and then you've probably seen the comments. I just, you know, when you think, I really wanted to get involved in that, and I couldn't. But yeah, so I didn't want to miss another opportunity.
So I have a question for you, Baz. I mean, you've obviously heard of my rhetoric, and you know, you know where I stand on the political spectrum, and you're very much a regular on the side stream. I mean, do you have a comment or a criticism or what of what we stand by? I mean, like me personally, I would say that I despite the state that I'm in, I do try and stay consistent with my, you know, beliefs and the way, you know, the anti-austerity and to me, you seem quite left wing, especially. Like,
well, do you know, this is the thing. Until about from when I was 18 until 2010, I voted Lib Dem. Believe it or not.
Oh, really?
And I was proper Lib Dem. Like, I wasn't a member, but I supported them every time. Always, even though I'm in a Labour area. I live in Hull, and it's like proper Labour central. There's three Labour MPs, and we've always been Labour for like 30, 40 years. You know, it's like Blackwell Rock. It's through you, you know. So as a Lib Dem, it was really strange. And then when Clegg just got together with the Tories, that was just it for me.
Absolutely capitulated to them. Yeah.
And then the whole student loan thing, which I'm probably for free education, free higher education. That was just a complete sellout, and I just thought at that point I voted Green in the next election because I just couldn't believe it.
So 2015, you voted Green.
I voted Green in 2015, yeah. And then Corbyn came in, and with a whole raft of proper left policies, and I just thought, I can't believe it. Where has this guy been?
Yeah,
like this is exactly what I've been waiting to hear.
Yeah.
And it was spot on like pretty much everything I agreed with, right down to Trident and everything.
Yeah.
And then I thought, right, I'll just join as a supporter, and I paid the £3 and voted for him in the leadership. And then after that, I thought, right, I'll just join. I never joined the political movement, and it just totally inspired me. So I went out and became a member. And now I go to the CLPs and have my say there and everything, you know.
Well, this is what I discussed with JJ on Out Let's Talk. I mean, it's where ethics actually meets ideology, and ideology meets ethics. You know, you have an idea in your heart of the way society should be, and when you find a politician or a movement that actually meets that ideology, or that ethic within your heart. So like within your heart, you know, most people know that things like education and healthcare and stuff should be in a civilized society, should be free, you know, because it doesn't just benefit us, it benefits everybody, you know. If we just take those two key things, you know, and this is, like I said, go on.
I was going to say, if you looked at just education, I mean, we've had conversations in the sidebar about free higher education, and you've had Tories, no offence to James, but Tories kind of say, well, it should be paid for because it benefits just the individual. You're like, no, it doesn't. It benefits everybody, and also the cost of well, there's two things in there. There's the debt that the person's going to accrue, which is never going to get paid back in full anyway. So that's
it's a complete non-entity. I mean, it really is. It's absolutely stupid.
And then there's just the fact, and it is a fact that graduates earn £100,000 on average more than non-graduates. So technically, in the tax they're paying over their lifetime on 100 grand is the paying for the course they've done anyway. So they're paying double. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think as soon as you start to think, well, who's paying for it? We're all paying for it. If you go to doctors, if you buy any piece of fashion, if you buy a pair of shoes, if you buy a computer game, all those people have got an education you're benefiting from.
Indeed. Well, I mean, it's basically. Sorry, I'm just going to make a small point. Especially when you look at the people that are in power, that are advocating for this this kind of movement where, you know, education should be paid for. So education is only for the best and the beautiful. The thing is though, these people are riding on the wings of you know, they were brought up and when they were doing their tertiary education in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, it was obviously paid for by the state, because the state actually realized and understood the benefit that an educated society will actually benefit everybody else. You know, I don't understand where there was a sea change. You know, I fail to understand why all of a sudden that we need to make education a commodity. You know.
Well, there was the Deering report, wasn't there, which was the issue, which was one of the main. I don't know when that was. That was in the late 80s, and ironically, Deering came from Hull, of all places, and the local uni, they've got a Deering Centre, you know, which like kind of, it's just mind-boggling to me that the guy that brought in or wanted to or advocated funding for higher education has got at the local uni where you pay £9,000 a year to go. You know, has got a building dedicated to himself. You're like, what the hell? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so he made several. Well, he wrote a paper, didn't he? Like, there's loads of recommendations. One of them was the student loan company and the way students paid the current funding. And when I was at uni, which was in the 90s, I was one of the last to get grants, and I didn't get a loan. I managed to do without getting a loan. I mean, I was living at home, so I was lucky. But it went down. My loan, so my grants went down like 10% every year until in the final year. I think they'd only give me like 500 quid or something ridiculous for the full year. But I didn't have to pay any fees, so that was the payoff really. But now it's like £9,000 to pay for the course fees. And then you've got to live on top of that. You know, so you've got to fund your life. So then I think, unless you're going to prepare to get £50,000 into debt, there's no point in going to uni. It's disgraceful.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that oh,
Mr. Building, what the heck, man?
Yeah. Come on. I mean,
is that any better?
yeah, it's much better.
I was just gonna
sure, go for it. I know you're itching for a input. Yeah.
I've had a discussion with you previously on tuition fees, so I won't go over that generally. Me personally, as you know, I believe we should have tuition fees, but I think £9,000 is too high. But people say, well, you're in 50 grand of debt. That is true, but I think it's only like 30% of people pay it back. And if you have a job, as you all know, Baz, you live in Hull. I've been to Hull, these northern town places. Earning over £25,000 is a rarity in them sort of places. So most students don't pay it back anyway. So the students that earn over £25,000, and when they're earning over £25,000, they're only paying, I think it's about £32 a month. Now, if you're earning over £25,000, you should be able to budget £25 of your wages per month. It's a packet of fags and a night out or something. So, me personally, I would not scrap tuition fees, but I would lower them slightly, probably middle ground of about £6,000 or £7,000. I would restore maintenance grants for things like doctors or people who want to get into nursing and stuff, because I know it's not a good. I know a lot of nurses who, well, I don't know a lot, but I've heard that a lot of nurses won't study at university because they don't get the maintenance grants and stuff. So I'd probably reintroduce them also, but I wouldn't necessarily scrap tuition fees as a general rule. I'd probably see a compromise somewhere.
Okay, what's the question? If only like 30% like pay off the £50,000 debt, then what's the whole point of the thing in the first place?
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually on the idea that okay, granted, anybody should have the freedom to study whatever they like, right? So
yes.
And then moving on from that, if there is a particular industry that we're actually lacking in, then it should be reverse fees. I think that people should be paid to study these. So for instance, we really need nurses, doctors, GPs, that kind of stuff, teachers, and we need good teachers, and we need good GPs, and we need good doctors and good nurses. So we need to train them, right? So people should be paid to go into training. So in high school, for instance, or secondary school, people, they should be recruiting there and say, hey, why not be a nurse? If you're a nurse, then we can pay you this while you study, and this, you can do this from the age of 16, for instance.
But I do think
degree, I mean, these are the ideas that these are the radical ideas. This used to be the norm, 50 years ago, for fuck's sake.
But the problem is times change, and a stereotype from 50 years ago.
Okay, so James, you're telling me that like between the 1960s and now, right? There's been a slight lack of the need of nurses.
No, what I'm trying to say is that in the 1960s, people, if you was a male, you grew up and then you went off to work in a factory or something. If you was a female, you'd be a nurse or something. But because people have more opportunities nowadays, i.e. females have more opportunities, males have more opportunities, there are more jobs available, people decide to do something different. It's not all that. Me personally, I don't think because we've got a shortage of nurses, it's not down to because we haven't got maintenance grants or we haven't got. It might be a contribution, but I don't think it's the main reason. One of the main reasons is we have more opportunities for females and males to do other things.
Mate, that's fucking bullshit, and it's fucking bullshit. I'm literally pulling that card out and say that is fucking bullshit.
It might be bullshit to you, but I'm just saying there are more opportunities for males and females to do stuff.
Well,
So
that may
nursing,
be right. That still doesn't take away from the fact that we still need nurses. We still need
I'm
doctors.
not saying we. I never. When did I say we don't need nurses? I said there are more opportunities now for males and
But
females.
you're assuming that 50 years ago the only way for a female to get into work is through nursing.
Again,
I don't think right.
I said that people in the fifth when I speak to my parents
Right.
and when I speak to my grandparents and other older people, it was females go to school and they do nursing and stuff. Males would then end up going. That was the stereotype of males go up, end in a factory, in a warehouse, manufacturing. Females would become a nurse, etc. Become carers. That's why the nursing sector is like something like 90% female. Teachers 90% female. There's a reason for that. People who work in factories are mainly males. There's a reason for that.
I tell you what. No, go on, Bazza.
I was only going to just say that I don't think there's more opportunities. I think there's just different opportunities, and I think it's not so much a guy's going to work in a factory now, whereas it's going to be a call center, isn't it? So those factory jobs just don't exist.
No.
It isn't that there's more. It isn't that there's more. It's just the different, and those different ones need higher education to do. Else you're going to be ended up in a cleaner's job or working in a bar, or you need to have those higher skills. So we need to be, skilling up people. And if the only way of doing it, which I don't believe, is to get those people into debt, so they're enslaved to the system, that's completely wrong. Because then you're going to have people just doing science, just doing computers, just doing engineering. You're not going to have any creative people because you're not going to take a risk on doing an art course because you think, well, where's it going to go to?
It's us about face thinking, really, isn't it? I mean, rather than putting people in debt, why would you put people in debt to reward someone to, give a benefit to society? I mean, that makes no sense to me.
I also do. Go on.
No, I'm finishing. Go on.
I was also going to say, I just wanted to quickly say about the comment that James made about people not getting into debt, but having the debt, or not believing that there is a debt. Well, there is a debt, regardless of what you think, regardless of whether you're paying it back or not. There is a debt, and that is the issue. That when you come from a working class city like I do, the perception that you owe 50,000. Even if you're not going to pay it back, or even if you're going to pay back 25 quid a week when you're earning 25 grand, it doesn't matter. You've still got that outlook that I'm in debt.
Over you, yeah.
And that's a crushing thing when you're 18 and you think, well, sure, I'm not going to take a risk. I've got to pay it back. And so why would I take the risk of doing that course? I wouldn't. I'll just get a job in a shop.
Indeed, and you're exactly right, Bazza. I mean, this is the thing. I mean even studies have been conducted where they've shown on even on the ideas of productivity. People that are actually relaxed in their circumstance versus people that are not. People that are actually in debt, like you say. And people that are free of debt tend to produce more versus people that are actually they don't need to be. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the ideas of paying back the student loans. I mean, you'll only ever pay back £400 a year. I mean, it's fucking ridiculously low. But it's just the perception of having that debt over you really is a crushing thing to when it comes to productivity and when it comes to general lifestyle and stress. actually.
If the realistic
I
route,
I
Go
was
on,
just
go
gonna.
on, sorry.
I disagree with that
Really?
because yes, I do because you say it puts a burden on people.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, I won't go to university because I could end up with £50,000 worth of debt. Well, that's totally wrong because the statistics show since 2010,
Mm-hmm.
more people go to uni than ever before.
How many
Yeah,
people
yeah.
dropped out of that though?
Yeah, indeed.
I don't know the numbers of people who dropped out, but I do know that the people who there could be other reasons why people drop out. People should know the implications of going to university before they join. But what I'm just going to say is I don't believe people think, oh, I won't go to university because I'm going to have a burden of £50,000 worth of debt. Because that's not true. Because since 2010, people are going to university has risen.
Can
So
I,
carry on,
Go on,
Cam.
Cameron.
so I've been trying to say so quite a while. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate.
There's a couple of reasons why people go to university is increasing. It's because universities are in the private sector. They're not public. Most of them are not, and the businesses. And what they want to do is rack up the most tuition fees as possible, and then we get secondary schools and sixth forms basically having possible right. It will look good for the officers to get as many people at the university as possible. We might want to sixth form. They did anything who can push us to apply for university, even if you didn't want to apply, which is the main thing that they did. They ignored the alternative apprenticeships. Also, because they're the main two reasons why there's more people. And there's culture about this going to university, it's drinking all the time. Let's add that onto it. Also, I think this is asking the restriction of the economy we did over the last 40 to 30 years. Basically, we went into a more service sector economy, which requires skills associated with university degrees
Rather than vocational degree.
Never or bricklaying and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's a portion of that, and that coincided with the ideology of prioritizing a commercialization. And what did they think would happen was a commercialization of education, especially with when most of the polytechnics returned to universities. Was that in John do that or Blair? I can't remember, but it's one of those two. And also, the phrase I think also I'm getting a bit conspiracy now about this. I think it was a total experiment also. That was the first that from Tony Blair that he wanted to make everyone middle class. And I thought he could do this by promoting university education.
I wonder. So we've got some comments in the side chat. The first thing is I want to say is Bazza, you're getting a lot of love. Everybody's loving your input. The other thing is the worst thing is the student loan company was privatized by Blair and then sold to Deutsche and NatWest. That's from Jody 1987. And Jody, you seem to have a lot to say. Do you want to join us in this wind down? If you do, I will give you a spanner. Do you want a spanner? Goon 143. I reckon more people go because the walk-in jobs are gone for the most part. Yes, it's true. Most of them have been automated. Actually, let's face it. I mean, when you look at when it comes to education, especially tertiary education or apprenticeships or whatever, we are going to have to face the issue of automation. So I mean, of course, you got the UBS, UBI, those ideas, but we need to get the populace above the curve of the way technology is going. I mean, and charging people for education to survive throughout what's coming, i.e. the technological singularity. I think is just fucking it's just fucking stupid. It just seems anti-progressive, like regressive to me. almost. You know, do you guys agree with that? I don't know who wants to go first.
First, do you want to go first, Baz?
Go on, Baz.
I was only going to say I agree. I can't add anything to that because I agree with it all.
Okay, cool. What about you, John?
Yeah, I definitely think that let's see, automation will be a bigger problem. Heck, it'd probably be even more of a bigger problem than immigration, because despite what some people say, like immigration goes away, let's see, the jobs will come back. Let's see, you won't be able to get rid of the automations because they will be around for.
They'll only improve, man. It's only better. So
yeah, you can't get rid of the automation once it starts happening quite a bit.
I mean, we are heading into a creative future in the sense of, your manual stuff's going to be going to be automated, and the only positions left are going to be creative thinking, or design, art, those industries. I mean, and obviously maths and science are creative in a different.
The STEM fields, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is again how the entire fucking economy is fucked up. Is that most of the greatest minds that are kind of creative when it comes to the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, they tend to go into finance, which is really fucked up because that's where all the money is. When really these guys should be looking at how to improve society. And this is exactly why capitalism and neoliberalism was really fucked up, because if you look at the technology that we could have in 5, 10, 20 years, we could be there already. The only reason that we're not is just because of fucking capitalism, and the way it's fucked up everything. But go on, John.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Where did I last leave my point? Oh yeah. Automation. Yeah, bigger problem. Immigration. I guess it's that. Unless you like, I'm not sure if you have anything else to comment on, to be honest. But I guess.
Okay. So, shit. Nikki M just made a comment saying care medical work won't be automated for the foreseeable future. This is an interesting point. It's something that I've been looking into, because in Japan they have care robots, they have care pets, actually robotic pets and shit. Now I understand. Hang on, before anybody kicks off at me, I understand that this is Japan and they do have a slight fetish for robotics, but I do understand that point. What I would like for you, Nikki M, if you would like to join us, I think I've got you on Twitter. Would you like a link? And then we can chat about it online if you like. But yeah, it is a good point. I mean, the care sector is something is pretty safe. But if you're in transport, if you're in sales, if you're in any kind of phone-in service industry over the next 5-10 years, I think your job's fucked. Like if you're in customer service, for instance, yeah, I think your job's fucked. I mean, I'm shitting myself. I got this fucking app on my phone, right? It's called Papago, right? And I teach people how to communicate. Granted, it's not kind of the same thing as translation, but it's a great fucking app, and it scares the crap out of me because it's free, and the quality of translation that it offers is out of this world, absolutely out of this world. Even kind of recognizes colloquialisms and it translates them as well into relevant colloquialisms in the language designated, which is quite fucking weird, man. Really fucking weird.
But is it going to replace the one-to-one that you have with the class or an individual?
Well, no, not at all. It will never replace that at all. But
And obviously, for a one-off, what is the word for such and such? Like on a Google Translate, I could appreciate, but I don't think it would replace teaching.
Maybe you're right. But I think. Oh, hang on. I think Nikki's gonna. I'm gonna send Nikki a link. Actually, I think so. That'd be quite cool. We're gonna have somebody else here. So, yeah, like I said, I teach people how to communicate in a different language. English as a second language or English as a foreign language. But when it comes to this application, and you can talk about, like I said, mannerisms or colloquialisms, I think that's quite weird that an app or AI can actually translate that. I think is very, very strange. So you can type in a sentence and it will translate it pretty accurately without shitting the bed, whereas Google Translate generally shits the bed quite often when you go too fucking crazy on it. And that is the technical term for translation devices is called shitting the bed. And they do quite often. But yeah. But yeah,
what was that other thing you started off the stream with? It was education and something else that you picked up on.
Education. Oh god, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, healthcare. Yeah, education, healthcare, and transport are the three major things.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just gonna send Nikki a hangout link. There you go, my dear. Have you got it? She was going to join us a week or before I went to the Philippines, but sadly her cat had issues. Her cat had a fight in the street. So anyway, what I'm going to do? Do you want to do the Q&A that I normally do? Since you're quite new here, this is a Q&A. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Are you ready? So, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
If you were to choose dog or cats?
Dogs.
Dogs. Do you own a dog or do you own a cat?
No, I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, fair enough. You're allergic to cats. Oh yeah, that'll be why. I suppose if I want to assassinate you, I just throw a cat at you while you're sleeping or something. Your political standing?
Well, I did this. You can do the tests where there's that graph, and it shows the Green and the Lib Dem and all that, and it's in 4 quarters. And when I did it, it came out as extreme green. So
if you imagine it north, east, southwest, right? Never reach road wheat. Okay.
Yeah.
So, where are you if you're imagining it on that? So are you southwest?
Yeah, I'm with Caroline Lucas.
Yeah, I'm proper deep southwest as well. But most people are not as far left as I am. But that's another story. So do you read?
Do I
read?
Read? Oh, right. Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite book?
I don't really have a favourite. I like a lot of Edward de Bono's stuff. It's yeah, I like how to creatively think. I like Alan de Botton's essay books.
Okay, cool. So that's non-fiction, right?
Yeah.
And what was your political? Sorry. Next question is, what are you reading now?
I'm not reading anything at the moment.
You're not reading anything. Really? Okay. Sorry, I've literally just found my notebook where I got all my questions. Sorry, let me just fucking find my pages. What the fuck are my other things? My notebook is really, really messy. Ah, there we go. Favorite movie?
Citizen Kane.
Fair enough. No, it's a great movie. Is that the one with?
Yes, Rosebud and Orson Welles from 1941.
Also, the original, wasn't it remade recently?
I don't think so. No. There was a documentary kind of film, RKO 281, with John Malkovich in it, which kind of was like how the film was made originally, but it wasn't a remake. But it's a good film though.
All right, here's a question for you, which I think you'll enjoy: Beatles, Elvis, or Rolling Stones?
Yeah, there's no question here though, is there? There's only one answer to that. There's only one answer. It's the Beatles, isn't it?
You have Beatles. I'm more of a Rolling Stones fan, to be honest. But
but the Rolling Stones, the songs were written by the Beatles.
We've already done dogs or cats. This is one of my personal questions that I really love, especially from the 80s. Aliens or Predator?
Right. Predator, but only because Aliens is a rubbish film compared to Alien. And Alien is an absolute classic and beats Predator, hands down.
Do you know, I actually saw Aliens first, and I still think, yes, of course, Ridley Scott's original 1978 Alien movie is absolutely genius. But I still love James Cameron's Aliens from 1985,
86, yeah. You see, I saw Aliens first and absolutely loved it too. And then when I saw Alien, I realised that Cameron has just ruined a brilliant film.
Oh no, it's
about so much more
than movies, though, aren't they? That's
face it. What I mean. He totally ruined it, didn't he? He took out all the reference, like the Alien references in the first film, and then when Cameron used those same visual tricks, they had a totally different meaning.
Yeah.
I've walked into the stream for 2 newbies.
Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna get political in a second. So the next question is, right now in the who's your favorite politician right now?
So it's Corbyn, isn't it? Come on, it's
really?
Corbyn, and I'll tell you why. And it really annoys me that people think he's not a good leader or whatever criticisms they've got of him. But I think he's playing a long game. I think he's really sarcastic. I think he's really charismatic. And I see an FE lecturer. Those FE lecturer qualities, which I think are really good. And I tell you as well, it reminds me of a Picard, whereas Tony Blair was Captain Kirk. And I think you need somebody like Picard, cool-headed, who's going to stand back, take advice, and then act on that advice in the current climate we're in. Whereas I think anybody else who's just going to come in and go, I'm going to kick ass. And you go, I don't want somebody who's going to come in and kick ass. I want somebody who's going to stand back and look at it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Now, before I ask you the next question, I need to go to the kitchen and get myself a drink. So, like Thomas, you just joined us, right?
Yeah, I have.
Hello, mate.
Two new people.
Yeah, can you hold the fort for literally like 30 seconds? While I just.
So should we introduce Nikki M here?
Oh, Nikki's joined us. Sorry, Nikki. How
Hi,
you doing?
you're all right. Can you hear me okay?
Oh,
Yeah.
We can hear
We
you.
can indeed.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm just
another debutante. This is quite interesting.
I'm on a mobile phone with crappy headphones, so I wasn't sure how it would work.
Oh, we can hear you
cool.
just fine.
No, this is cool. No, I'll hold off. Going through the questions just and go and get myself a drink. How you doing, Nikki? I know you've been itching to come on a stream recently, and we've had some private conversations on this. But yeah. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. I've just about recovered from the Labour conference. I got home on Friday and I've just slept ever since, to be honest.
That's cool.
Did you enjoy the conference?
Can you hold that thought, everybody, especially about the Labour conference? I will be back in a second. I just need to go and grab myself a drink. So excuse me, I will be back in a second.
I can't believe it. I am surrounded by freaking left wingers, left, right, and centre. What am I doing with myself?
You're outnumbered.
I am. Well, I get used to that.
We can support Manchester United.
Let's not go there.
Or move to Yorkshire.
You'll have to put the BBC on in the background and watch the conference.
I've been
Manchester United until I die.
I was watching. I've briefly been watching the opening day of the Conservative Party conference, and I've been listening to some of the fringe events, some of the comments that have come out of there and stuff. Not really. Justin Greening said that they kind of what I was saying on the Sunday stream earlier on, that the Conservatives have lost their identity for the first time in 30 odd years. They're not offering an alternative to Labour's radical policies, and that will be a detriment to them come general election time. What I agree with, this conference should be about May reaffirming her domestic agenda, and she isn't doing that. Her interview was just the same old. There was no, this is what my plan is for the future. I'm the leader, back me to implement this. There was none of that, and that was disappointing to see. Obviously, her big speech is on Tuesday or Wednesday, so fingers crossed she can. Well, fingers crossed for me anyway. She can come out with something that's not inspiring, but just something that's an alternative to Labour. Because at the moment, the Labour Party are in the ascendancy, where they've got all the policies, and they're basically, if Corbyn wants more money for the NHS, the Conservatives will offer £20 billion. If Corbyn wants free tuition fees, Theresa May will have an independent review into tuition fees. Corbyn wants to renationalise the railways, we'll have a review into the current state of the railways in the north and the south. It cleared to me over the past 6 to 8 months, Corbyn's in the ascendancy. What the Conservative Party need to do is they need to offer doesn't have to be radical, it just has to be opportunities, just has to be something different.
This is the thing when it comes to I fucking loved Corbyn's love speech. I was actually quite lucky that when I landed from the Philippines and I was on the bus home, I tuned into LBC as I normally do whenever I'm bored, and it was I think it was like one of the last hours. It was James O'Brien. What was it? 11 a.m. or something UK time. and he went online, and so I managed to catch the whole thing, right? And it was fucking brilliant. And to be fair, he really did. James, please stop on mute, mate, because it's you're creating noise. Please, can you do that?
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, no worries, mate. He really did lay the gauntlet down. Now, when you look at what the Conservatives need to do in reply to that, oh mate, they've got their shit to they really need to get their shit together for this conference. Yeah, Conservative conference. They like May and her team really need to get their shit together to reply to what Corbyn did last week, because, and sorry, not just Corbyn, but let me rephrase that, is the Labour Party and the left and what they put together with regards to how they want to reform Britain. And I think that was absolutely brilliant. Let's go to Nikki. What, like, you say you were actually at the conference?
I was, yeah. I was there for the speech. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it fill you with bubbles inside your belly like it did with me?
Yeah, totally. I left that hotel on a complete high, and it finished at lunchtime. So we had a free afternoon, and the person I was with was saying, "Oh, I think we should do something like go to the Slavery Museum," but I'm on too much of a high to go to something so depressing after that. So we went to the Tate.
Yeah, definitely.
But I spoke to a fella afterwards. This was my first conference, and he'd been to 26 as a union representative, and he said it feels like it did just before Blair got in, as in this is a party that's ready to go into government and take the reins. He said it hasn't felt like that for a long time, so that was really positive as well.
Go on, Bazza.
I was just going to say, Nikki, did you go to the Well Transformed? Anything on the Well Transformed?
I did. I went to the event, the disability event, which was really good. And I was going to go to the film screening, the one where the bomb hoax was, and I'm really glad I didn't now. I went to the Stonewall Fringe event instead. And that was interesting because we had a protest outside the Hilton, which is where it was. But the police moved them off before we got out. But it seems that there was a load of TERFs outside, which was really unpleasant.
I want to say this now, while I've got you guys here in privacy. Now we're post Labour, and it's Sunday. You know, it's hashtag Socialist Sunday and everything. I've got a lot of followers on Twitter over the last last week as well. Even I wasn't even here, you know. And people I don't even know are actually, you know, hashtagging me, and I don't even understand it because, you know, all I do is talk fucking left-wing bollocks most of the time. So I want to thank you, Nikki and Bazza, everybody else, for showing me support. Everybody, the guys in Sport Goon 143, Bionic Bert, everybody. Thank you very much. I am actually humbled, absolutely humbled, that anybody would actually want to listen to my left-wing bollocks that I fucking spout. But yeah, thank you very much.
It's good left-wing bollocks.
It's good left-wing bollocks, but like I said, I'm literally a communist, you know. So yeah. Bazza.
Yes.
So I mean, when you talk about, you know, when coming out of the were you at the Labour conference?
No, I didn't go to it. It was Nikki that went to it.
Yeah. And Nikki, when he come out, the World Transformed and stuff like that, were you disappointed when the unions blocked the mandatory reselection?
Very,
That,
yeah.
yeah.
It was like a 50-50 split between the CLPs and the union. It was really stark, and I was disappointed. But I think it was the same day as the Palestine vote, and that for me was the highlight of the whole conference.
Oh, can you see my video? I'm going to show you something.
By the way, if it's any consolation to the people who are in favour of mandatory reselection, from what I've heard, the unions are losing grip on power on the party, and it is moving towards the members more than it is towards the unions. So I think that mandatory reselection, while we didn't get it at this conference, I think we'll get it in 2019.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, it's something like, you know, when I mean, we brushed on this between me and Baza when we're talking about, you know, ethics and policy and ideology and stuff like this, is that, you know, are you a Corbynite? Yes or no? Not really. Are you a Labour voter? Yeah, probably. But why are you a Labour voter if you're not a Corbynite? Well, because I'm just what I am is pro worker. What I am is pro. I think, you know, my ethics dictate that I think in a country as rich as Britain, that people should have an equal stab, you know, and people like if you don't have the opportunity to have that equal stab, then everybody should be able to take care of each other. This is the idea, you know, is that socialism means different things to different people, but I believe that we can create something great if we work together, and that's the idea of socialism. And it's not just creating something great, but it's creating something absolutely massive than we've ever actually thought, you know, putting everybody's minds together. So moving on from that, you know, if we can extend that beyond the Labour Party or beyond Corbyn, you know, go on, Baza.
I was just going to say, yeah. What strikes me about what you just said is that I think that people, maybe a lot of Tories, think that we live in this meritocracy, and we don't at all. There's no meritocracy in the UK.
No, there's not.
And yeah, well, an example that I can think of off the top of my head is when I was at uni. The first lecture that we had was 400 across 3 courses, 400 students in this lecture room, and the main tutor came in, and he said, "There's 90% of you. You're gonna get your qualification, but you're not gonna follow the core. You're not gonna become what the course is. And there's probably only been one person in this room that will actually be, you know, a designer of any merit out of 400 of you. You know, even though you're all going to achieve some certain standard, it's a look at the draw whether you're going to reach the top or not. And there's so many other factors. And so when people say, "Oh, well, you know, you've all got the same chance," or you're given an opportunity, you've all got the same opportunity. You haven't. You can go to the same school as somebody else and not achieve certain grades, but then not achieve in life. And you know, from where you live to your family medical history to, you know, all these different factors. Yeah, sorry, I just went just.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, this is the thing. The Tories would lead you to believe that this is a meritocracy. Of course, this is a meritocracy if you go to the best school, if you go to the best university, if you have the best education. Of course, it's a meritocracy.
Well, this is why I don't understand. Go on. Well, I was going to say this is why I don't understand why people
Go on,
vote.
you first. Go on.
Well, I was going to say this is why I don't get why people vote Tory at all. I do not understand. And even talking to James, I still don't get it. I still don't get why you would vote for the individual over the best of society. Why would you be greedy and selfish, put yourself first instead of helping somebody else?
We have a Tory here, so that Tory.
James,
could you answer?
That was directed
that
towards you. James, do you want to?
I gathered. Because I believe in my belief is that the Conservatives and the Conservative Party, who offers conservative values, lower taxes, a smaller economy, smaller government, is the best for the people. I don't believe in raising taxes would help the working class. Now, the Conservatives ain't perfect. No party's perfect. I think we can all pick holes in any party.
Sure.
But I believe that the Conservatives help the working man more than people make out. I lowered. If you raise taxes on a person who is barely just getting by, they're going to struggle even more. And this is my fear if somebody like Corbyn or a left-wing replacement came in, is now his policies sound great, and that's why I class him as a populist. His policies they sound fantastic on paper: free tuition, free childcare for under threes. I think it might be even under fives. Record more money into the NHS, nationalisation of the railways. But there has to be a time, to me, where somebody has to pay for this.
But here's no.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is the fallacy.
I get,
James.
But you don't. I get. You do this every week.
You want to get fucking into this, mate? Because I will fucking nail you.
Order!
John, shush. Let him finish his point.
I was just going to say is that, to me, somebody has to. We have to pay for this. It sounds great nationalising the utility services and nationalising the railways and all that, and more money into the NHS. But at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for it. And the Labour Party rightly say, well, we'll tax the top 5%. But what about if the money we get from the top 5% isn't enough? Who do we then tax then? Do we raise council taxes? Do we raise national insurance, VAT? What do we do then? There has to be a plan B. And to me, the Conservatives wouldn't go down that route of pro-nationalisation because it's not their ideology. So I believe in a small government, and that's the reason why I probably, if you wanted to answer your question, Baz.
So,
well, if you're going to put me off midway through the
okay. So, Conrad G, do you want to reply to that, mate?
Oh, he's left.
He's gone.
I would have loved to, but I think he did want to finish something.
But yes, you're right. There is no way the UK is a meritocracy. It's just a part of who you know and what you know, and you know, it is literally if you have the money and you have the resources, then you can literally do whatever you want. But if you're not, then you're stuck in a low wage fucking economy. And it seems to be getting worse.
Don't take this the wrong way, Chamchi, but I think you might have forced it. I think you might have pushed him a bit too far that he ended up quitting. Sorry.
James isn't gone because of me.
I think it's more of a technical problem, actually. No, mate. I've literally said a lot shittier things to him before, and he's always stayed and took it. So, what makes you think that?
No, it's. I think you might have interrupted him a bit too much this time, but never mind. Never mind.
Did I?
Well, only he'd be able to tell you that. I don't know whether that's why he was left.
Bazza, what do you think?
I don't know, because I was loading at a different screen and then I just I'd gone.
Yeah. He just dropped out, mate. So, John Cooper, I think you're talking shit. Nikki, he's back. He's back.
Okay, so I was wrong. Okay.
Can I have an
Yes.
apology now, please, Mr. Cooper?
My internet cut out. Well, I say cut out. I
Mr.
pressed
Cooper, can I have an
goodbye.
apology, please? Because what you just said was quite libelous.
Uh-huh.
Mr.
Anyway,
Cooper.
where were we?
Would be slander, but never mind.
Yeah, it would be slander, but you know. So you're talking about how the UK was a meritocracy. Come on, James. Quick.
Me?
Get on. Yes,
I thought you were
you.
speaking to somebody else. I didn't know.
No. I was
No,
talking
I
to
did-
John, but yeah. Go on. You're telling me how the UK was a meritocracy.
I never said it was. Bazza asked me a question before I got cut off. Was like he doesn't understand why people vote Conservative, and I was just trying to give the reasons why I do.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Can you remember the point and can you pick him up on it?
Well, to say that the Tories, I mean, it's pretty obvious stuff. The Tories have taxed the poor. You have the welfare, the bedroom tax, rising VAT, increased cost of living. I mean, they don't support the working class, the poor, whatever term, you don't have to use those particular terms. It's just, you don't benefit from supporting them. And I don't understand why you would.
And not only that, when the threshold for paying national insurance or whatever it was that was a Lib Dem policy, in the coalition. It wasn't a Tory policy. But then the Tories took it on. No, well, we did this. Well, they didn't do that. They didn't raise people out of tax. That was Lib Dems.
That is true. It was a Lib Dem policy which happened during the coalition government, what I was generally supportive of. I think the coalition wasn't perfect by all means. We can all pick holes in that. No coalition government will ever be perfect. But the policy, one of the big policies for me was taking the low earners who earn under, I think it's now £11,500 out of tax.
But that was a Lib Dem
altogether.
policy, wasn't it?
Oh wait, no, yeah, you're totally right. It was.
But so you are you claiming credit then for something that isn't a Tory
Well,
policy?
it was a if the Conservative Party didn't support it, it would have never gone through. So both parties can take credit for that. If the Conservative says no, we're not having this policy, it's not even going to be implemented, it won't be voted on, then the Lib Dems wouldn't have been implemented. So yes, it was created by the Liberal Democrats, and it was in their manifesto, and that was one of their big policies. But then we can also say, we could also say the Green Party were supportive of renationalising the railways in 2015, and Labour pinched that policy for 2017.
But they weren't in a coalition or in government.
No.
Nationalisation has always been a traditional Labour policy.
It's not been. Well, it was pre-Blair. It wasn't during Blair's era. Nationalisation wasn't even in the remit. I don't think during Blair's era. I think it was the opposite.
But that's just sort of, it's irrelevant, really. I mean, whatever faults there may be with Labour, the reality is that the Tories are not your friend, and to say that the taking the people out of tax, the problem is they're being paid a shit wage. 11 grand a year is absolutely abysmal. Whether or not they'll pay in tax off of that is a pittance.
But the thing is, they would be paying if we were in a Labour government, or the people under £11,000 would still be paying tax.
Okay,
surely...
okay. No, granted. No, I wanna pick you up on this, right? Because this is what really pisses me off. Okay, you want a low tax kind of society. That's fine, right? But then you're going to spend more on privatized buses and taxis and stuff. You're going to spend more on when you want to, get a bus to downtown. You're going to spend more when you want to get a train. You're going to spend more when you actually want to get healthcare, because obviously you're not paying enough tax to actually, fund the NHS. You're going to spend more when it comes to, education for your kids, or if you actually want to retrain when your actual job is actually automated. You're going to spend more, like full stop, when it comes to all these things. It's fine having a low tax economy, but understand the fact that you will fucking pay for it in other ways.
Yes, but
it's a fallacy. It's a fallacy.
But I don't believe that nationalising things like the railways would automatically bring down prices of because a lot of people's problems with the railways, and I suffer with rail problems. Yesterday, for example, like 40-minute delay on the railways, and they were on strike. So I understand Northern Rail are actually awful, but a lot of people's problems with the railways is it's far too expensive. Yes, you are right, it is expensive. But would nationalisation of the railways lower the prices?
Mate, it's a natural monopoly. No. Okay, right. You've had your word, right? Now I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to point. All right, go on. Finish your point, then, mate.
I was just going to say, would nationalisation bring down the prices of the railways, the energy companies that Labour plans to do? I don't believe it would. So.
Okay, I have an answer for that. But I wonder what Nikki, Tom, and the other silent people here have to, and of course, Cameron. Go on, Cameron. You go first, mate.
When the railway was privatised, we were told something that the market and competition within the railways will bring the prices down. We were told that the prices were actually go down, and the opposite has actually happened. I don't think I'm not convinced that we should keep it prioritised at all. That's a ridiculous argument, because railways are to the perfect national monopoly. I mean, you can't have competitive choices with the same railway as well. There's no legitimate argument to keep the railways prioritised. So it goes to the fact that we're the second, we're the joint most expensive railway service in the world with Japan. I compare all railway services to Japanese. They're bloody butchers. What do we have over here in this country? I mean, the idea that we do anything well with prioritised railway, it's ridiculous. Let's nationalise it. I mean, do a study by a couple of companies, and they sent their studies to Labour. And Coleman came out and said the conclusion of a study into the price of the railways said that it's instantly, if you nationalise the railways, we're able to do a 10% cut in rail fares.
Well, yeah. Well, there we go. There you go. If it was nationalised, there'd be a guaranteed 10% cut in rail fares from Cameron. Arthur, what do you think?
Well, they're already subsidised, aren't they, the railways? So,
Indeed.
You're already paying for it in one respect. And not only that money is going into private pockets, isn't it? It's going to the CEOs. So why isn't it going back into rolling stock or updating whatever? Do you know, like that? It's private money, public money going into private pockets. And that's the Tory policy.
Indeed. Actually, this is something that it took me a long time to work this out. Is the fundamental difference between left and right, the fundamental difference between let's say the fundamental difference between left and right. Okay, so the left fundamentally takes private money and puts it into public hands, and the right takes takes public money and puts it into private hands. That's the fundamental difference between left and right.
Yeah.
You know, and if you understand that, then you understand like how like fucking so much of politics works. You know, the right will always try and fleece the working person and put it into, you know, some private fucking hedge fund or whatever, you know. Nikki, do you have a comment on it? Because we haven't heard a lot
Just
from
that.
you.
I'm just listening. Just that I can't bear the thought that public services are giving money to shareholders.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's just wrong. Like the NHS should not be making a profit
Yeah,
for some dick in a suit.
I know, right?
And the same with Royal Mail and transport systems. It's just made it unaffordable for so many people, and it's destroying the NHS.
It's destroying
But
the
I did want
NHS,
to
it's
ask you a
destroying-
question about your definition of socialism, communism. You said you were for the workers.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that can't work. So I always say that I'm for the workers and the non-workers.
Sure.
Mm.
Is that something you've thought about?
Of course. I mean, I'm very much on the Noam Chomsky kind of ideas on taxation, and the idea is that taxation should be localized. You know, and when you have cooperatives and they actually look at the surplus that they're producing locally, they think, well, how can we use this surplus product that we've actually produced, then it would be spent towards, you know, let's look at, you know, let's take care of our grandmother down the road, or let's look at the infirm, or we could look at improving the infrastructure within our society. I mean, these are the ideas that we need to look in, and this is the original idea of tax. And I know G doesn't agree with me on this, and we're both pretty far left, but you know, these are the ideas and of taxation, and how, you know, taxation can be used for the many and not the few, to coin a term. Like, so
It's a good phrase.
it is. But do you understand what I'm talking about? I mean, especially when I need to be. I am pretty far left, right? Like, and my ideas are. They're probably outside the realms of the Labour Party. They're a bit more radical. They're a bit more left than that. And I think that's the only reason why Swiss keeps giving me a platform. It's just because I'm more left than him. But you know, it's you know, you need to give its excess. I mean, I'm kind of a humble guy. I mean, I earn enough money, but I don't. I'm more interested in expanding my mind than actually earning money. Does that make sense? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have another questions? Anybody have any other questions? Like,
let's see. I guess, what do you think will be mostly remembered in the Tory conference that's going to go down? Do you think the data thing that just happened will be the number one thing?
Mate, that's just a fucking starter, mate. It's all going to be about fucking Bojo the clown versus Mayhem the twat, the darling. Okay, I've got some more questions, and
can I just say something about Conservative Party conference?
Yeah.
Oh God, I was going to say, yeah, Boris is also doing another article tonight in the Telegraph. Should be of no surprise. But I was listening into a few interviews done by David Davis, and I ridicule him. Me and Ainge ridicule him, calling him the Grandmaster chess player. But he seems to be going away from like what Boris has been saying. He attacked Boris this morning on Sophie Ridge, saying his policies sound good, but they wouldn't work. It seems to me he might be like on leadership maneuvers as well.
Of course, yeah.
Well, to be fair, any senior Conservative at the moment could be on leadership maneuvers. It's kind of obvious May will be out within the next 6 months, maybe before Brexit or after. So they're all probably vying the post. But what I will say with party conferences, take a look at what the fringe events are saying. I know Jacob Rees-Mogg is presenting something at a fringe event today. Boris Johnson's right-hand man was doing something at a fringe event this evening and said that one Conservative should stand against Anna Soubry because she's not a real Conservative or something. So you can clearly see there's like a proper Brexit civil war going on within the Conservative Party. So it'll be interesting to see over the next 3 to 4 days how that unfolds. But don't expect too much in regards to May's speech or any of the big speeches by Philip Hammond or Sajid Javid or anything.
Oh yeah, a question for like the new members. Do you think she's going to cough in her conference speech like last year?
Well, I hope she doesn't because, well, I felt a bit sorry for her to be fair. When that's something she couldn't control. It's the same with like the dropping of the letters. It was kind of just all went wrong for her. It's something again she couldn't really control.
It was, yeah. To be fair to Theresa May, last year, there was definitely it was like a bad day of the worst day that you could ever. She had a cough. It kept tickling her, and then the things kept falling off in the background, and then you had the comedy of the guy like giving her the P45. I mean, everything went wrong for her last year. Everything. But they've had a year to polish it, right, James?
She'll make no doubt about it. If you do watch the speech on Wednesday, she will make a gaffe about the cough. I can guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
But she's not a funny. She when she tries and be funny, it becomes awkward. The thing is with Corbyn is when he's funny, he can be a bit funny. With Theresa May, it's just awkward when she does a funny joke. Like when she's dancing, you just want to like turn off and things like that. And when she makes funny jokes and stuff, it's not her stuff. So if I was Theresa May, I'd avoid going down that route. But she probably will make a joke about her coughing. Hopefully, no letters will fall off the stage, or no one will hand her a P45. Because probably the only person who handed her a P45 will probably be the backbenchers of the Conservative Party come November time. But hopefully, nothing happens at Conservative Party conference.
I wonder to the panel now. What are you expecting in a sentence, if you can, right? What would be your hopes from the Tory conference? So I'm gonna go from right to left, right, as I see them. So the first one there is Thomas. Thomas, what do you think?
He has been on silent for
about Tory Party conference.
Yeah. What do you expect, or what do you hope?
Well, I'm hoping for it to all go completely wrong, but what I think will likely happen is it will just be really boring at the end of the day. It will be incredibly choreographed to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So no, I don't really expect too much to happen. Fringe events might be interesting, but the main event is going to be incredibly boring.
Well, generally, all the interesting shit does actually happen in the fringe events, isn't it? So, but you know, we'll see. We'll see it next week. So next one is Nikki, next to Thomas. So Nikki, what are you expecting from the Tory
Well,
conference?
I expect it to be boring as well, but I'm also hoping that all the infighting becomes public
Yeah, indeed.
and everybody can see it for the shit show. It really is the whole party.
I'm really looking forward to the fireworks. I really hope, and I really hope that there are. I mean, what with Boris Johnson, and he basically, I mean, his mouthpiece is quite massive with the Telegraph, or the Torygraph, we would call it, or we could call it the Boris Johnson megaphone, right? From now on, I suppose, is more relevant. Yeah. So you're just looking forward to the fireworks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But he won't get the coverage. You know this, don't you?
Well, yeah, I mean,
It will on social media.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping. All right. So next we have John. What do you think on the Tory?
Well, I'm hoping it'll be a bloodbath like Angels.
Well, that's four of us now. That's you, Nikki, me, and Angels that are hoping it's going to be like a scene from The Walking Dead or something.
Yeah. Granted, I don't know if they're going to split or not. I don't think it's likely. But if that does, then I think it'll be clear to everyone that they will be finished afterwards. But let's see. But yeah. I am hoping to also make coughs during the speech. I don't know why. Maybe I just enjoy you as suffer. I don't know. Possibly that.
Okay. So next we got James. James, what do you think on the Tory conference?
What do I hope, or what do I think will happen?
Either or, just in a sentence, mate, if you can.
I hope they offer an alternative to Corbyn's Labour. What I think will happen will be the same with the same usual checkers means Corbyn, back me, or no deal Brexit. I am the leader until you get rid of me. Goodbye. And that'll be about it.
Okay. Next we have G. What do you think? Or what do you hope?
I hope a giant asteroid collapses on the building.
Can we not just take off and nuke the site from orbit?
Well, either or.
Let's not advocate violence against the Tories. Sorry.
Well, that's just fatal. That's just force majeure. I can't be responsible for that.
Okay, fair enough.
Did I expect anything different from you, G? Nah, brilliant. You don't fail to disappoint. Never. Okay, Bazza. No, sorry, Cam. Cam, what do you think?
I think we
has an avatar from the last Tory conference,
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, I think it'll be quite boring compared to the last one. I mean, I think what we said is what's going to happen. They're going to do all the cat affairs from last time. And I don't think the main speech achievement is going to be interesting. It's going to be tedious. It's going to, like someone will say, we're ready for a no deal if we can't get or prefer a deal with checkers. And I think you need to watch all the events for rebellious Tories rather than the main speech.
Awesome. Bazza?
Yeah, I reckon she'll come on with the big wide stance, with the legs of that famous stance she does, and they all do that.
It's known as the power stance, apparently.
The power stance, that's the one. She'll make a joke about coughing. She'll make a joke about falling letters. She'll joke about Corbyn, and then she'll make a load of Labour policies and pretend they're right.
I tell you what, right? Did anybody see Ma earlier? Right? Fucking pissed me off, right? Ma did pretty well, right? But the one thing that done my head in is that May peddled the same line. Oh, you know, we're still paying for the
Labour mess.
Labour debt, yeah, because apparently the Labour Party caused the global economic crash. Fuck's sake,
Oh,
man.
for fuck's
I mean,
sake.
honest. I know, right? Right? And it's just like, oh, shit.
The thing that gets me is that-
honestly, right? In your guys, I mean, like, I don't know you, you don't know me. In your circles, right? Does anybody still believe that?
No.
Maybe
No?
some of my, oh no, maybe some of my more right-wing family probably believes it, but I haven't really asked them. But I don't think most people really believe
But
that.
even on the right, like, it's still like, well, you know, it was a global economic crash. You know, even on the right, it would still be fucking stupid. Even if they have a vendiction against fucking Labour Party, you know, even then, you're being disingenuous. Surely, you know, even on the right, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just so
sure.
easy to prove.
Sorry, Nikki. What?
It's just so easy to prove to them that they're wrong. So I don't know why they keep going on about it.
Well, she did it. She did it today on
I know.
Mar. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, and even okay, here's another one. Tree frogs on fucking BBC Question Time, right? He pulled out the magic money tree fucking bullshit. And it's just like, really? After your fucking party paid what was it, 100 million or £1 billion to keep yourselves in party in power? Fuck's sake, you're gonna pull out the magic money tree? Really? Fuck's sake.
Did anybody see the speech that John McDonnell gave at the Pier Head before the conference on the Saturday night?
No, I need to look at it.
Go on.
It was brilliant, and he said, oh, you know that magic money tree? I found it. It's in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, I did.
And that's where I'm going to find it. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, the Tories have been stashing their fucking money, right? There was a meme the other day, and it was like, it was a quote from Theresa May, and she says, "No, of course I don't consult my husband when it comes to policy making. No, because he knows exactly what he's doing. He has been making hundreds of thousands of pounds when it comes to the policies that they are making. You know, don't get us wrong. It doesn't matter. I mean, Theresa May doesn't give a fuck about Brexit. She really doesn't. Like just like Boris Johnson, I don't give a fuck about us. Not at all, right? In fact, right, here's another thing. You remember I told you about the fundamental difference between left and right? Yeah. I'll tell you another thing I fucking learned while I've been studying this fucking bullshit politics, right? Is the right, especially the landed right. Okay, so definitely Theresa May, Boris Johnson, tree frogs, you know, all these people, the landed fucking right. Yeah, they resent the fact that you can vote. They absolutely resent it. As far as voting is concerned, they think you are not educated. You didn't go to the right fucking schools. You know, they resent the fact that you have the ability to vote. Right? This is the thing. There is actually pure hatred and resentment towards you, me, and anybody. Right? And James, I hope you're fucking listening to this as well, because they treat you with contempt as well. Yeah.
I don't think I don't agree with them not wanting us to have the vote.
This is fucking true. As far as they are concerned, right? and this is like I said, the landed gentry, right? Democracy should be their plaything, you know. It's there because you don't have the education to even deal with democracy. You don't understand what it takes to be a Democrat. Okay. And that is the fucking thing that makes me sick.
Mhm.
Tell me you disagree.
I disagree with this statement of the Conservatives in like Theresa May and Boris Johnson not wanting us to have the vote. I don't buy that. I've never seen any comments made by both Boris or Theresa May saying we should remove voting privileges for X amount of people or stuff. Maybe
Yeah,
you
but that's
have,
not-
and I haven't
that's
seen
not-
it. But
You could look at Windrush. You could look at the Windrush and how she treats how she treats people there.
well,
it's the same thing.
It started with the landing. Well, it started with the landing cards in 2009. Under 2009 was a Labour government. Yes, the removal of the landing cards happened in the first few months of Theresa May's tenure as Home Sec. But it was if Labour, say that again.
The go home vans, the hostile environment, specifically a Tory policy.
Well,
wasn't just a specifically a Tory policy. It was a Theresa May policy while she was Home Sec.
I think
her idea.
I think Theresa May has said her regret of the go home.
Really? Did you see her today? She really doesn't have any regret at all. She really fucking doesn't.
Well, she scrapped them after about 3 months. So if she really believed in it, it would have been scrapped. It would have still carried on. What I'm saying is, I don't believe that the Conservatives in May or Boris want to remove people's voting rights.
No, they just support them instead. I think you're being overly charitable. I mean, no, I'm not defending Labour. I mean, what Labour do is disgusting. However, when the Tories come in, of course, and this is true of any party, they could change that, but of course they don't. So when they're enacting deliberately racist policies that deprive people of their liberty, I don't know how you defend that. And to say that if she believed in the vans, she would have kept them running. They got rid of them because of the massive public backlash. They were absolutely hammered for it, and rightly so.
Mate, how you can vote and how you can be a member of this party that is literally treating other human beings like trash, like literally like trash. I mean, Theresa May, and I quote, right? It's yes, they have the right to what's the word? Come back on this court hearing, but let's deport them first, and then they can have
deport first on to again. I disagree with the comment made by Theresa May.
Yeah, but you just because and you've heard that quote, right?
Yeah, just because I'm a member of the Conservative Party doesn't mean I stand by everything they say. That's like saying that everything Labour say, Labour members stand by.
Well, like I keep telling everybody, like I'm not a Labour member, right?
No. I'm just saying.
I'm literally a communist, you fucking idiot. Like
I've seen the T-shirt. I'm just saying, sprouting comments made by Theresa May or whoever.
Well,
I
I'm
disagree
not
with him.
being funny, but she is the Prime Minister of the fucking UK. Like, you know.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm saying is just because she said a comment and I'm a Conservative member doesn't mean I have to say that I agree that I have to defend her.
Okay.
I can call out Theresa May on a comment I disagree with. Things like the go home bans were wrong. Well, they were fundamentally wrong. The hostile environment quote that was used between 2010 and 15 was wrong. So she won't get defense on me on that situation.
I want to. So thank you, James. You know I love you anyway. So I want to put it to the panel. So let's go from left to right this time. Bazza, what do you think?
I'm just curious as to how much, James, you disagree with before you think, hang on a minute, these Tories are idiots. You're like, what has to happen? What has to happen before you go, hang on a minute?
It's kind of interesting going back onto the hostile environment thing. I was a member until 2016, and I'm not sure if you do remember, Amber Rudd did a speech at party conference, and it was border on racist what she was practically saying, and I thought at the time, it was that speech, and I left a few weeks afterwards. Well, my membership lapsed, so I left. I rejoined. I think it was June, July time, on the basis of I can vote for the next prime minister. If we don't have an election in the next 3 months, I could potentially vote for the next prime minister, unless there's a general election and Theresa May goes in as the Conservative leader. What I'd highly doubt. There'll be a leadership contest before there's a general election, in my opinion. So I have the opportunity to vote for the next prime minister, and I don't want that prime minister to be somebody like Boris or somebody like Jacob Rees-Mogg or somebody like Gove. Because I'm a Remainer Conservative, I want somebody like Javid or somebody like that who I believe would, far from perfect Javid, but I think he has the capability to win an election over Corbyn, whereas Boris or Rees-Mogg would systematically put Corbyn into power. So that's why I rejoined.
Right. I can appreciate that. I think that's, respect. At the same time, I think Javid's a poor man's Ian Duncan Smith, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
I think Javid has I can remember, I always watch it every now and then to have a giggle with myself. And it was Ian Duncan Smith's leadership speech, and it was probably worse than Theresa May. If you want to have a laugh for 5 minutes, just go and watch Ian Duncan's leadership speech. He tried to be something that he wasn't. He was like, the quiet man is turning up the volume, and that's like the catchphrase that they use for him.
Yeah.
And he was systematically awful. I don't believe Javid's that bad. Again, we don't really know a lot about Javid. He's a new up and coming MP, really.
But it shows the state of the Tory party in that he's been rushed up to.
There is nobody out there who is. You can make the argument there's not many people in the Labour Party as well who are leadership material at this present time. There's probably not many in the Conservative Party.
Oh well, actually, this is a subject I wanted to broach actually quite after. I mean, yeah, granted, you could make that argument, but let's stick on point, and the point being is that I want to go through. So, Bazza. Cameron, do you have a comment on what we're talking about with regards to the Tory party and their contempt for anybody that's not landed gentry?
When you look at a political party, you must look at who that actually stand for. Does it stand for you or someone else? Now, look at the process in particular. Like, logically fair, I don't care about the poor. We don't do anything. Do next to nothing. But what they do is lower taxes for the wealthiest and basically sell off our public assets that people up, our skilled workers build up, not them, and they sell it for profit. So look at carefully. The Tory Party stands for the wealthiest in society. So there's no logical reason from people from my background, let's say that, to support them in the long term. I mean, there's more than two issues, right? Labour may be a bit on Brexit or anything like that, but to be fair, we need to look at what benefits us. Even if you look at it class-based, it means someone's working class. It's clear that the Tories don't benefit me. They've done nothing for someone like me. Especially for the young. They trample on people and ignore us. And then look at the potential leaders. There's nothing inspiring. We've been talking about the film, but Sajid Javid. I mean, he's just basically David Cameron, a bald-headed version of David Cameron. And we have some idiots like Mark. So, and then we have the incompetence factor where they can't even run a bath or anything. So there's no hope for this party. They should be really destroyed, in my opinion.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that one. You know, I mean, the bottom line is, I think is, James, you have no fucking business voting Tory. Next one going to G. What do you think on what I said? The premise being that I think that the Tory party or the landed gentry think that democracy should be their plaything and that you have no business voting. And I think this runs through the Tory party, especially when you look at people like Jacob Tree-Frogs, Boris Johnson, and especially May and her husband. What would you say?
Well, they're gerrymandering the boundaries, aren't they?
Yeah, indeed.
The Tories are just horrible.
To be fair though, Tony Blair did try to do the same thing as well.
Well, he's wrong also. I mean, the Tories are in power now. I mean, I don't care what happened under Blair because it happened, and we are where we are. And supporting the Tories is destroying society demonstrably. So.
And I'm of the opinion, like moving on from that, I'm of the opinion that that people like Jacob Tree-Frogs, Boris Johnson, and Theresa May and her husband, I really think they don't give a fuck. You know, society is actually like crumbling around them. And because they're in their green zone, hashtag Shrek Doctrine, I really don't think they give a fuck, you know? They don't give a fuck, do they? And you'd agree with that?
Well, of course they don't. I mean, there is no benefit to work to voting for the Tories. It's just, I just don't get it.
Yeah. Okay, so John Cooper. Next.
Let's see. Well,
quickly in a sentence, if you can.
Sorry. See, I think the Conservatives really need to go because they're still stuck with the neoliberal economics, and I think it's shown that they're not quite working out. Let's see. And the more I think about it, I kind of agree with Callum Ferguson about how the party is destroyed so it can rebuild itself. See, I can understand perhaps maybe some of the fears why Mr. Fielding does not, want Corbyn with like his beliefs or stuff personally about Corbyn. But honestly, I think, probably the best bet for Britain right now let's see, even both in short term and in long term. But
Okay, cool, awesome. Nikki, what do you think? Do you agree with the premise that that the Tories resent the working class, hence the reason that the society is actually crumbling around?
I do, and I think a lot of their policies reflect that. I think part of universal credit is to grind people down into such poverty and destitution that they haven't got the will to vote anymore.
Yeah,
there are a lot of other policies beside that one. And you just have to look at the austerity and the effects that it's had, and the 120,000 deaths that have been related to it. And that was 18 months ago. There'll be a lot more now. And you can't see them as anything other than what they really are, which are contemptible.
Well, that's a really interesting point, actually. This was a study that was conducted about 5 years ago, and that they found out that if people were literally at their wits' end, like literally on their uppers, right? They found they became totally apathetic when it came to engaging into democracy. Right. And yes. I think that's a very, very interesting point. I think that this is like I'm saying, and like you say, the introduction of universal credit, which was actually introduced by Ian Duncan Smith originally. And the thing is, because it wasn't rolled out until was it last year or whatever? It was an idea by Ian Duncan Smith in like 2010, 2011, 2012. I can't remember which year, but it became a vehicle of cuts, right? But the thing that really wrecks my head, right, is does anybody listen to LBC on a daily basis?
No, it's not good for the mind.
Yeah, I know.
Not daily.
Not daily, right. Now, here's the thing. There is actually a pro universal credit propaganda running on their channel right now. It's like an advert, right, for universal credit, right? It's because it promotes people back to work and shit like that. It means that I feel I feel better going to work knowing that I've got my universal credit and shit like that. And it's like, how much money would that have cost? You know?
Well, there's one on Twitter at the moment that says, you can get 85% of your childcare costs back, which is factually wrong. You can look at their website and it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it's Ian Duncan Smith's pet project. I mean, he famously went to a Scottish, somewhere in a deprived estate in Scotland, and famously wept at the poverty, and then built the Centre for Social Justice and vowed to be the great white saviour. And when soon as the Tories got in 2010, that was his chance. It was supposed to come in October of 2013 in time and on budget, and we are now where we are. Everyone anyone knows that it can't possibly, will not ever work. It is destroying people's lives. There is no other word for it. It is the most pernicious policy this government has put out. And if you couldn't ask for a worse person to helm it than Esther McVey, who there was the food bank debate that was in December of 2012, and she lectured the Labour Party on how they were to blame. The Tories were whooping and cheering, and Ian Duncan Smith got up with a smile on his face and walked out. These people are the worst people in society, and this alone is sufficient reason to tell them to fuck off and keep fucking off until there is nowhere else to fuck off to, and then continue fucking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. And when you have fucked off, get on that horse and fuck off again. For fuck's sake, dude. I mean, like, Jesus Christ. I mean, when you literally have people like dying in the streets, like, and you have police taking away people's like sleeping bags and shit like that, and literally people are freezing. I mean, this is bullshit, right? And the thing that really wrecks my head is like there was an earthquake yesterday in Indonesia, right? And 400 at least 400 people died, and my heart goes out to them, right?
It's 800 now.
Yeah. It's like it's fucking heartbreaking, you know. Now earthquakes, tsunamis, and all this shit. This is stuff, you know, you try to protect yourself against, but you know, it's all you can do, you know, and yeah, it's really shit. But what really wrecks my head is people, somebody somewhere, but we know really, someone somewhere made a decision, say, oh yeah, let's fuck over the poor, right? Because they don't deserve to vote, they don't deserve their right to live, apparently, because they're not creating enough wealth for us fucking bourgeois, you know. That's what it is. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's that complicated. They simply, no, they simply do not care. They simply do not care. And the problem is the civil service will not say to them. This is why you have people like McVeigh will happy clap. You know, and she's the worst of this, because she's an absolute advantage. She's one of these, you know, self-help. You can be an entrepreneur too if you buy my online book or whatever bollocks, you know. It's all that kind of shit. It's head in the clouds, pie in the sky nonsense. And then at the same time, the civil service will not tell her the bad, you know, the bad stats, the bad data. That's why they dispute all the stuff from the UN. The UN are now about to investigate them for the 5th time. Britain was the first country to be condemned for its treatment of the disabled. This has never happened before. It is, I mean, if you want to see how bad it gets, follow the disabled groups. The stories you read will break you. They are absolutely harrowing. The stuff, you know, there's one guy who's had to, and there's a photograph taken of it, and it's horrendous. He's having to wash himself in a paddling pool in his front room. I mean, it's unreal.
What the fuck?
This is.
I mean, we're literally like fucking road to Wigan Pier, like shit. Like, you know, this is proper fucking bullshit, man. What the fuck is going on? Are we like, where the fuck are we going as a society? You know, we should be pioneers. You know,
it's just degrees worse. I mean, I don't want to be unfair to James, because it sounds a bit, you know, I mean, he's here. No.
I mean,
this is the reality, with the greatest of respect, of what a vote for the Tory brings. It's unfucking believable.
This like no, everybody knows. Can we just like before we start now, because like I'm proper triggered now, right? James, right? This is nothing to do with you. This is to do with the Tory party, right? You understand that, right? And this is
I'm just listening.
Nothing to do with you, despite the fact you are a Tory shit stain. But aside from that, yeah, I'm proper triggered. No, we are proper fucking Orwell situation, like road to Wigan Pier. You know, like when the Tories voted against the idea of, you know, when if you rent an apartment, you there's no guarantee that it will be fit for human habitation or something. What was the proposition? Do you remember that one? Like, Nick?
It was it doesn't have to be fit for human habitation anymore, and like a third of the Tory MPs who voted for that were landlords.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, this is proper 1920s. This is pre-Attlee, you know. This is fucking nasty shit. Go on, Thomas. Go on, Thomas.
Oh, I was just saying, I have seen that Padwingpool picture before. I've also read up on stories of people who have died as a result of policies regarding from the Conservative Party and things like universal credit. I think Daniel Gauntlet was one that stood out to me. He was a man who, I believe, when they autopsied him, they found no food in his stomach at all for days on end, and he froze to death in the winter, and they found him basically in a hovel with dirty clothing, if you could even call it that. It was basically just rags that he put together. So, yeah, I mean,
These stories are not rare anymore, though. They're
No, they're
becoming
not.
more and more
They're-
normalised, and that's what's scary.
No, they're not unusual or rare anymore. And I think the reason why people don't focus on them is because, well, a variety of reasons. It doesn't get reported in the media, even though it should do. People are not affected by these stories, or at least the people who do usually vote Conservative are not usually affected by these things. And also, there's a buffer between it. And also, I think that people just don't see the Tories doing it.
It is by stealth, but this is something that G and I generally clash horns about. Is that I'm with a person. I'm full of hope, and I'm very much an optimist, and I think that people will find a way productively or progressively to actually find a way evolutionary, through government, through so like Jeremy Corbyn is a tool right now, so the left can have a voice.
What makes me?
But hang on. Let me finish this point.
Right, okay.
I'm nearly finished, right? So I'm very much an evolutionary socialist, and G, I don't want to speak for G, but he's very much, strip it all down. It's all about capitalism, which, to be honest, is right on a lot of these matters. And we're talking about a revolution, so you're looking at Trotskyism and those kind of directions. To be honest, the longer this goes on, the more radical I seem to get, because the longer we don't get a voice, as Gandhi says, if you make diplomacy impossible, you make violence inevitable, and it's going to happen. It's going to fucking happen, and we are ripe for revolution. And I don't want it to happen. I really, really fucking don't want it to, but it's going to. Go on, Thomas. Sorry for talking over you.
No, it's fine. It's I just wanted to ask this sort of question. It's a general question to everybody, basically. We've discussed these stories of universal credit and the numerous horror stories involved with it, but I just wonder, why is it, in spite of these horror stories, do people continue to vote Conservative?
That's an interesting. I mean, like, I think you're asking the wrong panel.
Well, I think my dad says for the South, it's a fear that Labour would up the price on their mortgages.
Shit. I know exactly why. I've seen this argument before. All right. Okay. So the argument for the right is that, and this was the argument of why give the working class the vote, right? And that is, if they were given the vote, then let me see if I can get this sorted in my head, because I read it a long time ago. So
isn't it about manufacturing consent? Isn't that the basic argument?
no, it's
you get them to believe they've got a voice. but they
No,
haven't.
no. It's a voice from the right. It's basically if you had socialism, then basically the people that don't have anything will vote to take the people that have everything away from them. Yeah, it's the entire,
Is this Hayek with Road to Serfdom?
no, yeah, I think it was Hayek actually that said that.
Yeah, because this sounds like Road to Serfdom.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it is. I think it is, and it's the idea that that democracy ultimately leads to Marxism and what's the other way? Oh yeah, capitalism due to fucking Rosa Luxemburg. Oh yeah, capitalism ultimately leads to barbarism and totalitarianism. So yeah, fuck Hayek, mate. It's bullshit, man. Absolute bullshit. So
don't get me wrong,
it's the
everything he said
idea
was wrong.
that us proles will vote to steal your wealth or something. That's why. That's exactly why. So the moment you get a little bit of capital, i.e., your own house or your own car, then people get scared that a left-wing government is going to take it away from them, and that's what it is. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that. Like I said, there is a historical fucking reference to that, and I think it is Hayek, and I think you're right, Thomas, on that one.
So basically, it just boils down to you have a lot of people who you've got that in addition to it, but maybe it's also the fact that a lot of people seem to genuinely believe that if Corbyn gets in, he will restart the Soviet Union or turn the country into Venezuela.
Yeah, turn the country into Venezuela, apparently.
Yeah, that's the argument I've heard from a lot of people on the right.
Oh, it's so tiresome. Like, honestly, I'm so bored, man. I I love. Do you know? Like, half the reason why I love James is at least he gives an original argument. I wish someone, just like turn it into Venezuela. Really, Venezuela? We haven't got the weather, mate. We haven't got the sun. Like, so how can it be Venezuela, you fucking idiot? But aside from that, I mean, really, Venezuela? I would like us to be more like, Germany or Switzerland or Denmark. Denmark would be a good place. They've got quite a good economy going.
I just wanted to ask James if he is still here. What's his views on this universal credit and the complete fiasco that it's been?
Not a massive fan of universal credit. They won't get rid of it now. They're too far down the line to get rid of it. It'd be a total the implemented universal credit was meant to be a cheaper option.
Yeah,
but it's now statistically more expensive.
I understand that if they U-turn now because they're literally they've got like two legs into the pool now, and there's no turning back on the universal credit as far as the Tory party is concerned.
So in other words, admitting that they've lost the argument.
Well, yeah, that would be right. Yeah,
maybe the intentions were probably there for it to be a fair system, but the way it's been implemented is totally wrong. People waiting 5-6 weeks for a benefit, some sort of benefit, is wrong. Obviously, how can a struggling man or woman live off nothing for 6 weeks?
Well, that's the problem, though, James. They don't. The Tories don't think that way. They don't. It doesn't matter to them. They don't realise or understand the situation people are in. It's foreign to them. They cannot understand it. That's why they put this thing forward, and then they dress it up with it's just like work, but that's not any better. People struggle in work.
Yeah, well, in work poverty is up. You're correct. I don't know with universal credit. Again, I'm not a massive fan of it. I never really was. Probably maybe the intentions were for it to be a more fairer system, but obviously that hasn't happened. You'll have to ask a senior Conservative. I don't know all the answers, but they're not going to change it. So
no, I don't think they are. That's
so,
a major problem.
So we need, I believe a Conservative leader who has ideas to try and fix it. But at the moment, nothing. The leader won't change anytime soon, and the leader that does come in will probably be a cabinet minister who's already been back in universal credit. So nothing will sadly change on that front.
All right. Can I ask you a question, James? Then, right?
You can indeed.
Okay, so you understand that universal credit is fucked, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
no. Here's another question. There's a follow-up question quickly, right? You understand that people are dying because of this policy from the Tories, right?
I've read the independent report about austerity and that. Yes, I have read that. If you read fully,
yes or no? It's a yes or no question. Do you understand
All right.
the fact that people? Yes or no?
Do I understand? Well, if you read the report fully, the commissioner.
Okay. So let me rephrase that. Do you understand that people are dying due to Tory policies? Yes or no?
Well, if it's just a yes or no answer, that's too vague. So I won't be answering the question. If you let me finish what I was just going to say, is the independent report who did the report for the Independent says he can't give it. He says 120,000 people could have died through Tory austerity policies.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually read into it, I can't remember the direct quote. I will go off in a minute to find the quote he says, but he can't give an.
Okay.
Yes, probably has. Yes.
Yes.
To answer your yes or no question, yes, probably people have died under Tory policy, but I'm sure people have died under new Labour policy as well.
Well, we're not talking about new Labour. We're talking about these policies that were brought in through austerity over the last 8 years, right? And you are complicit in voting for a party that does encourage this, and you do realize that their motion through Brexit is just going to make it worse. It's just going to be an excuse, and you do realize that austerity was an ideological idea, and it wasn't through any other ideas at all. It wouldn't be through economical or whatever. It was ideological. So you understand this, right? So my question is to you: why would you vote Tory? Because as far as I'm concerned,
I've answered this question a few times tonight.
Now, hang on, I'm not finished. Because as far as I'm concerned, you might as well have their bloods on your hands. Yeah, if you vote for them. I'm sorry, mate, but it's true.
Well, it's like saying whoever voted Labour in 2001, but I should have blood on their hands.
I voted Green.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you did.
But I'm just what I'm hearing is every other fucking Tory politician says is whataboutery. Yeah. Why I'm not talking about Labour in 2001. I'm not talking about the Iraq War. What I'm talking about is your voting history, and I'm talking about Theresa May. I'm talking about Ian Duncan Smith. I'm talking about austerity. That's what I'm talking about, and I'm talking about Sorry, Nikki. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, can I just interject with one salient point? there's two people in this hangout that might not survive austerity.
Hmm.
So it's our blood on your hands potentially.
Hmm.
Ooh, deep.
It's
Well,
true.
Well, I don't know don't want to. Obviously, I
Look,
really hope that
James,
nobody dies
James,
under Tory
James,
policy. I don't want to be the person who has to defend Tory policy all the time because.
Yeah, I know. James, here's the thing, right?
Mhm.
I know you're not a socialist, and I know you're not. I really believe that you're really not right wing at all. You're a good guy, and I like you, right? Now, here's the thing, right? This is where ideology and ethics and ideology go kind of hand in hand, right? I never thought I was a communist. I never thought I was a socialist until I actually started to examine, things like ethics. So what I'm saying to you is, I honestly believe that you would never vote for someone. You would never vote for these horrible policies that the Tories are putting through. And I believe you. I believe you in the fact that you just want to have lower taxes, and because you don't see how the taxes are being spent, right?
Well, I just believe a low tax society would help the working man, people like me and yourself. Not even the working man, people who don't work. It would help them also. I just don't believe raising taxes for the top earners.
I don't understand why it's all about taxes.
Can I ask?
There
Can I
are
ask?
there are other mechanisms, but yeah, go on.
I think Basil wants to say something. Sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask James, what does he? Can he define a top earner? What's the level that he would put top earners at?
I say that again. I didn't hear the last bit of the sentence.
Sorry, like how much do you earn before you become a top earner? I'm just curious.
Well, the top 5% is £80,000 a year.
Okay. So do you
if
think?
you earn over £80,000 a year, I don't earn nowhere near £80,000 a year. But if you do earn over £80,000 a year, you will, under a Labour government, be taxed more. That was in the Labour manifesto.
Yeah. So then, do you think that you're ever going to be in a position to be earning £80,000?
No, I earn just over £20,000. I don't want to go into how much I earn, but I earn nowhere near that. But I don't know many people who earn over £80,000 a year at all. But
why?
I don't believe. But what I was just going to say is I don't believe it would just be the top 5% that would have to pay more tax. When Labour get into government and offer more policies, it'll be the top 10% or the top 20%, and we'll see an increase in things like council tax, which will then have an impact on working man's people, and that's my fear going forward.
So what you're saying is then that it's not really. You think that Labour are lying?
Well, I think every party lies. You find me an honest politician, you'll be looking next year for one. But I just don't.
Jeremy Corbyn, I think they're pretty honest.
I don't, but I just believe that.
But just stop for 1 sec. Sorry, it's the lie that you're suggesting is so huge because it only affects 0.5% or whatever it was, 5% of the population that earn 80,000. So let's just say that, for argument's sake, let's say drop down to 50,000. That's still double the national average income. So let's say everybody at 50,000 was taxed more. That still wouldn't affect you, and it would probably never affect you. So then why would you be having a problem with that?
But it wouldn't even be. It would be. They would when Labour been every time they've been into power, Labour, it's always been a rising. It'll be a new tax to be
hang
a
on,
rising
hang on,
council
no,
tax
dude,
or
dude,
rising something else.
We're not talking about the past, right? Here's the thing: you can't talk about the past. We're talking about the future.
So let's assume at face value that the manifesto £80,000 is what they started off, and then let's assume also that that your fear that there's more things to pay for, council is going to go up, etc., etc. That gets paid for, but that gets paid for by lowering the £80,000 limit to say £50,000. So that's an extra 30,000 less that you'd have to, you'd only have to be earning 50,000 before you got taxed. But that's still the national average income is 26 grand. So that's still double the national average. So what I'm saying is, how are you ever going to be in a position to be earning that kind of money? Why are you still voting for somebody that's going to? Do you see what I'm saying? Why would you even vote for that? Doesn't matter. Why would you not go? Why would you not say, well, actually, that Labour, even if they lied, it still isn't going to affect me?
Because once they get into power and they implement their manifesto,
80,000.
They won't be able to keep. That's what they say.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't trust them.
So let's just say, I'm accepting that you don't trust them, and I'm saying, so you don't trust them. Let's assume then they drop that 80 grand ceiling to 50, because that's the area that you don't trust. But what you're actually saying is you think they're going to drop the ceiling from 80 grand to 20 and tax people at 20 grand or less.
I think there would be tax. They'd raise taxes in all sort of things. It won't just be how much you earn. It'll be council tax.
Is your fear that they're going to raise a regressive tax such as VAT? Now, let us think. Who is the only party recently to raise a regressive tax such as VAT? Well, that'll be the Tory party. Who is when it comes to saying that they're going to cap, let's say, energy costs, but didn't actually follow through on it. That'll be the Tory party. So I really think, dude, you really don't have a leg to stand on I'm not a Labour person. Go on, dude. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, on the tax issue, say for example, corporation tax, right? Big businesses would have to pay more corporation.
But why are you bothered about?
Yeah,
why?
Well, because raising corporation tax, in my opinion, would make more people unemployed.
So what about the big bonuses and the salaries that the CEOs take from these companies? That could be redistributed to the wages to keep people in business, keep people in work. Why wouldn't that happen? Is it because you've got greedy bosses that you vote for?
Big union leaders, for example, who earn big.
Union leaders get paid by the members. The member I pay my sub so the union boss can do his job properly. So that's paid out my money that I give voluntarily.
Yes,
it's nothing to do with the big. He doesn't get paid a salary from,
But I don't agree with big businesses having massive pay rises when their workers have a small pay rise.
That's capitalism. That's the system you're voting for.
That may be so, but if we're going to change it,
What are we changing it to, though, James? Changing it to a socialist system.
You want to change it to socialism.
Yeah, which actually, and I don't want to. I'm being respectful, right? I'm not going to go yet. But all night now we've been chatting, and pretty much all night, all of that from you, even though you're a Tory, is that you don't agree with X, Y, and Z policies of the Tories. And I'm thinking, well, why are you voting Tory? I've not heard one thing positive you've said. All I keep hearing is, am I the only one that's listening to this conversation?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, this is the thing. This is the thing. I mean, when you look at the ideas of well, I mean, I'm proper left, right? proper left. I mean, everybody on this panel knows this. Like, I mean, I'm literally a communist, right? So when it comes to the ideas of capitalism versus you know, socialism, whatever. I mean, like, to be honest, like, I'm a bit like, you know, chilled out and that whole thing. I mean, I don't have an argument. I don't want anybody to die, right? I'm not revolutionary, but for fuck's sake, mate, when you see policies that are when people are fucking dying over it, you know, you need to, you know, work out what the fuck is going on.
I don't. I'll say I'm not having a go at you, James, because you sound like a Manchester Yorkshireman anyway. So you've got one up in my book. But
don't say I'm from Yorkshire, Ray. Again, I'm from Manchester. There's a long-running feud between me and a few Yorkies in the bullet chat around Manchester and Yorkshire. But no, just sorry to put you on. I was just going to say, I'm not a massive supporter of the Conservatives. I'll call them out when I believe they're doing wrong. But I just, my opinion, and I do need to go shortly. So, but what I will just say is that I just believe the alternative is in my opinion, worse. And maybe
define that. You need to define that, James, mate. Because you say this, you say, oh yeah, if Corbyn is prime minister, then it's going to be a disaster. Yeah, okay, granted, but you need to say why. Why is he going to be a disaster? Because his economic policies are crap. Okay, but there's no fucking substance to that argument, right? Like, honestly, mate, and it really fucking triggers me because, like, you all you're doing is repeating the shit from the Daily Fail and all the fucking scum, you know, dude. Fucking put some balls behind your fucking argument and actually have some substance. Yeah, at least something that I can fucking.
Chamchi, calm down, champ.
Oi, John, how dare you tell me to calm down on my own fucking channel, mate?
Sorry.
Right, so shut up. No, dude, man, this is important, right? Now, if you want to have a debate about Corbyn, then fair enough. I'm willing to debate about it. But if you're willing to throw out just vacuous phrases like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be a disaster for the country," tell me how. Tell me why. Then we can work together, and then we can discuss it, right? If you're just going to throw out vacuous phrases, then we're not going to get anywhere, are we?
Hello. No, Angels is here.
But I've said before on Corbyn, I believe his economic and foreign policy would put us in more danger.
Okay, tell us why then. Okay, no.
Because right, okay. So we nationalise the railways and we nationalise the energy companies, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it comes to a budget, right? And the economy's not as growing as much as we wanted to, right? We have to prioritise what we spend.
Okay.
Right? So obviously the health service and things like that would get top priority. Right? But then things like the railways, if they're under the government's control, they'd become less priority. And you think, and that's my opinion on nationalisation, would have things like the energy companies and the rail companies that would be even more low priority than they already are. So the idea of nationalising the railways and the energy companies, in the long run, in my opinion, would do more harm than good. So that's why I'm not for them.
The first thing I want to say is that in that extrapolation, there are a lot of fucking ifs, mate. A lot of fucking ifs. But go on, Cameron.
I was gonna say, nationalising the railways would cost nothing.
Look, I came in just right.
Hey, Angels. Sorry.
As this franchise ends, we'd have to pay a penny. Instead of giving to another franchise, because from ownership, we've got to pay a penny. So the cost of nationalising the railways is nothing.
Indeed.
We just have to wait until the franchise ends.
Well, Look, I'm of the. I know this sounds really ridiculous, but I fall somewhere in the middle between all this because
Being a centrist, what a surprise, mate.
Well, no. I
Like-
mean, what I'm saying is, I'm not anti-nationalisation for certain sectors if it's very obvious that the private sector has failed or, is currently failing. Carillion was obviously one of the major examples.
Yeah,
So,
no, I know. Carillion was a fucking shitstorm, man. And again, my heart goes out to the SMEs that actually were on the battlegrounds like that.
I see what James means, as in, that there are certain. Essentially, there are also certain areas whereby if they're overnight it's not essentially like nationalisation of a certain sector overnight, for example, is going to solve all problems. It's not like that. Like, it's not how it works. Like, everything, first of all, people go on about how assessments cost loads of money and stuff, but you have to assess stuff before you do it, just to try
sure,
protect people's jobs. And so therefore the way that I view it is, let's have an assessment of certain areas that probably would be better under nationalisation, but not, the answer to everything. There is no silver bullet in the situation that we're in right now, especially with the very, very insecure times that we're going to have, obviously, when it comes to the economy with Brexit. Potentially. I don't want to come across like a scaremonger, and people in the side chat might probably say that. But,
yeah, of course you're right. And addressing all of these points, the first thing I want to say is, John Cooper, sorry for pulling rank, but don't call order when I'm in mid flow.
Sorry.
It's all right, mate. No, it's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. But the thing is, when you're talking about transport, for instance, i.e. something that people actually rely on to go to work, and people are spending up to 30 or 40% of their monthly income on just transport. I think that's fucking outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
There's no two ways about it. But the obviously, certainly the trains, and what I'll say, I'll just take the trains as one example. And actually, you obviously being brought up like not far away from me at all. Like so the station that I go from is literally 4 to 5 stops from Waterloo, right? Which is a 29-minute journey, and it cost me, just for a London Terminals ticket, not even a travel card, so not even talking about the tube, £18.80 per day off peak, right?
Peak, yeah.
I'm lucky enough to be able to go to the office when my meetings are off peak.
Scary shit.
Now,
but this is my point, though. I mean, if you're doing it on peak, i.e., workers, right, which is peak fucking time, you're literally spending, like I said, about 30% of your income just on doing the work, in, like, i.e. contributing to society, or doing the workers thing, which so this is fucking wrong. And this is why I want to bring in G, because G's probably got loads of comments on this.
I was just about to go for a piss, actually, but okay.
Go for a piss. I'll take over first, and you come back after your piss, and then you can.
Well,
I really want to see your input, because
it's all right. I'm sure I can hold it in. What was the question?
Well, I was complaining of the fact that the private trains, or no transport, generally public transport in the UK.
It's fucking awful. It's just so bad.
No, hang on. Let me set the stall out again. Is that in general, so the average worker will spend about 30% of their income just on traveling to and from work, which I think is outrageous. Right, and that was my point.
Well, one of the reasons that capitalism is so disgusting is that it sets up the notion that you have to pay to do your job. But it's a
Indeed.
tax. That's essentially a tax because it's not going to come out of the profits of the person paying the wages. And the privatizers need obviously to make their profits, and it's a ridiculous proposition. I mean, our bus service here is rubbish. It's probably the same in most places, you know. But people always put forward, well, what you need to do is have more competition. But all that then means is you then have like multiple bus companies fighting for the same few people at a bus stop, which is completely the ass backwards. What you need to do is take these services and put them into public ownership so that they're run by the community.
Yes,
and not
yes,
even nationally. It doesn't have to be nationalised. It just has to be run by the community for the community.
Indeed.
This is the sort of thing I support.
Indeed.
Now I'm going to go for a piss.
And then, so say you're paying 30%, but if you knew that those profits, you know, that they were taking were actually making the service better. So, for instance, if one month you paid 30%, and then the next month it got you to work quicker, so that means you can have, you know, an extra 5 minutes, and then maybe the next month, right after that, right, you're still paying 20%, but they say, oh, okay, we're going to get you there quicker, but then it's going to be cheaper. So then your money gets cut down. So then maybe in a couple of months' time, you then pay 20%, and you get there in half the time. I mean, these are the things, you know, with cooperative ownership, rather than filling some fat bloke in Costa del Sol's fucking pockets, right? You know, it's either improving the actual service that they provide. This is where the profits should go, you know, or it's actually making the original service that they're supposed to provide cheaper in the first place, right? Would you agree with that, G, and the ideas of transport? You know, I would like I said, I wouldn't mind paying extra as long as I knew where that money was going, and it was put towards improving the service. Does that make sense? There's a complete fucking blackout. What do you think?
Mr. Fielding has left.
Yeah. Well, of course, he did say he had to go. But Nikki, what do you think? And Thomas, especially, yeah. What do you think on what I just said?
I'll go to Thomas first. I zoned out for a bit.
I basically
Oh my
just
god,
wanted to-
Nikki's here. I didn't know that Nikki was here. I'm actually really quite excited about that.
It's because you
Nikki
have
and Baza.
Hi! Oh my god, I'm really excited about this. I always get excited about it.
Me too. We've had a couple of debutantes like here on my channel, and again, I'm gushing about the whole thing as well. But you know, we'll save that for later.
I'm sure we will, Jamji, knowing you.
Go on, carry on, Thomas.
I just wanted to say that I think it's abundantly clear to anybody who is not an ideological libertarian or free marketeer that privatisation of public services has been a total and utter disaster, and this goes double for natural monopolies. If you want an extreme example of a natural monopoly being privatised and then it having a disastrous effect on the market and consumers, you can look at what California did with its power plants, where the California state government privatized them. And what ended up happening is the private companies immediately started taking power plants offline for maintenance to artificially reduce supply, which led to rolling blackouts and increased the price of power, resulting in gross profits for energy traders. And as a result, the state government had to step in and renationalise the power plants. Quite simply, privatisation of natural monopolies does not work.
Indeed.
I mean,
Nikki?
yeah.
Sorry, go on, Nikki. You did say Tom first, so it's you after, obviously.
Yeah, I mentioned what I said before, that you know, the profits from things like the NHS, Royal Mail, etc., shouldn't be going into the hands of shareholders and CEOs. directors and so on. But having just come from Liverpool and heard the story about Carillion, who were building the new Royal Liverpool Hospital.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
it's
stopped.
half built. I mean, why didn't
It
they?
stopped 18 months ago, and now the government have just had to give them the funding to carry on building it because their existing hospital is literally falling apart and isn't fit for purpose.
Yeah.
And
This
it's just a disgrace.
absolutely. Yeah. I've been watching this situation on the news, and it really fucking sucks, man. Again, it's you could call it patriarchy or whatever, but because it's a women's hospital, it doesn't seem to get the focus that it normally would do. I mean, if it was an A&E or a hospital to remove pineapple from gammon, then maybe you might get more of a coverage from it, but apparently
I don't
not.
think it's a women's hospital.
The Liverpool one, I thought
the Royal
it was.
Liverpool. No, there is a women's hospital in Liverpool, but it's not the Royal.
It's not the one that's been half finished by Carillion.
It is that one, but well, when I lived
I
there,
thought.
it wasn't
Oh,
just a
my
women's
understanding.
hospital.
Oh, okay.
No, it's got A&E, cancer services, cardiology, everything. Yeah.
Okay. My mistake then. My mistake. But going over to Angels. Hey, Angels, how you doing?
Hello.
We have a couple of debutantes here on the stream. We have Bazza. Say hey, Bazza.
Hello.
And we have Nikki M.
I know, I'm so excited.
Does that mean we now have 4 females on the stream for our regular streaming group and stuff?
I am so happy about this because, I'm always saying, because I'm anti-gender quota, people go, oh no, you're never going to get you're never going to get the balance unless you bat them. It's the only way of getting equal representation in politics. And depressive realist Thomas always tells me this, don't you?
Well, it is just true at the end of the day. I can't help the fact that it's the truth.
Okay, so now are we done slagging off? I mean, we can do anti Tory policy all day, and of course my chosen subject is inequality and how much I hate fucking capitalism. But can we talk about? I would like to, if you guys want to, is hashtag Socialist Sunday and how it's been affecting you guys, and what direction you guys would like to see going forward. Actually,
did anybody just quickly wanted to make a comment on what I said about the natural monopolies or not?
Yeah.
No. You're exactly right. No, especially when you talk about the railways, for instance. I will argue all day. I mean, there is no reason why the railway should be privatized. I mean, like you say, it tends itself to a natural monopoly.
Do you mind, since I'm actually not completely pro nationalise everything like the rest of you lot? There are actually certain areas where we should have a setup whereby state organisations, whether it be more localised or whatever, get the chance to bid on something along with the private sector to keep competition up and therefore prices down for the consumer. One of those, I'm talking under a capitalist system, which I know lots of you have issues with, but I'm talking about right now, right? A bit like what I would liken it to is airline prices or indeed mobile phone contracts. Now, they're still flawed, and arguably, on multiple levels. But I still feel like the market competition in certain areas, if we are running under a capitalist system, which we currently are, is not bad on every single level. You can't, just because you have a certain vision, right? And just because you may suspect that something would work better under a different one does not mean that we can ignore what we're faced with. And there are certain sectors whereby, you know, it does appear to be working all right, you know, still flawed, but all right. And in that case, we have to take it on board, I think.
The problem is, though,
I
is
you,
airlines are
but what
not.
about airlines? That's the perfect one because
They're
Yeah,
not
typically,
natural monopolies, so they
yeah,
can't
yeah.
be compared to
so
something
yeah,
like water
Indeed,
or energy.
indeed.
When I say
Well,
natural monopoly, I'll give some examples: railroad infrastructure, water pipelines,
yeah,
electric
indeed,
cables, gas
indeed.
pipelines, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, anything that has an incredibly high fixed costs and very few competitors because of the nature
Yeah.
of it is a natural monopoly.
Yeah, the
And
market only works if there is proper healthy competition, which
Indeed,
is what I'm
indeed.
saying. So and there still can be, like, and there still is in certain areas, but that's what we have to be careful about mixing up, because the
yeah,
market can
but there
still
are.
deliver to the
But this
consumer,
is
but
exactly what Thomas is talking about.
What I'm
I mean,
saying is, go on, Cameron.
Even in this competition, the market often doesn't work. You can look at situation where there's competition. So we can look at. So we can look at.
What the fuck are you
Oh, it's
watching?
back on. No, no, it's a game. It's a game.
It's like, are you having a gladiator battle in your backyard or something? Fuck's sake!
Okay, yeah.
Go on, carry on, Cam.
You can look at the market. You can look at I don't know, the cost of clothes, the cost of food. Whereas so many people, even though there's competition, people struggle to buy. I mean, the market isn't everything. Isn't God.
But
During the value society compete around it when it clearly doesn't favor the population. I mean, when you look at poverty or inequality across the world, it's not because there's not enough money, it's because the market fails. I mean,
I
Tony
think
Bennett.
you'll find, Cameron, I think you'll find the market is God if you're baseless.
Yeah, but the problem is it shouldn't be God, right? Because it shouldn't have the right over other people's lives. You know, it should be our duty as a society to make sure that these people live, right? And this is the thing that really fucks my head up, right? You know, when you look at people dying because of austerity, that's what fucks my head up. You know, there's no such thing as a society. There's only the individual. Fuck her, man. Fuck Thatcher, and fuck the horse that she rode in on.
That was also her undoing. You could argue.
Well, we'll see. But she still created Blair. You know. I mean, yes, I am on the left. Yeah, I'm proper fucking lefty. But the thing is that the left is a movement outside of Corbyn, outside of the Labour fucking movement. And I'm sure, Nikki, you understand what I'm talking about because you're proper left as well, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think what some people don't understand is that life costs more when you're poor. So if you have electric and gas on a meter, it's the most expensive power that you can have. If you can't get a phone contract because of your credit rating, your calls and texts cost more than anybody else's.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't afford good shoes, you buy rubbish ones, and they last a few months. It's things like that people don't think about unless they've been there.
It's taxing the poor, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a poverty tax. You know that people are.
Which is why I believe that I don't necessarily disagree in certain aspects of capitalism, but I've always been a major advocate of a decent support network and decent kind of welfare state. You know, I'm not like the kind of person who goes, oh my God, market for everything. I understand that actually in certain aspects it's failed quite catastrophically. in some cases. So and because I'm not ideological in that sense, I'm willing to admit that. Like, I'm not somebody that's going to turn around and say, "Oh, it worked wonderfully in this particular area," and so. Like, I'm not gonna sort of back it up when it doesn't need to be. I do think there are areas in which it has worked though, and I will say that. And I'm saying as in to the benefit of humour. Well, not always. A bit like Nikki brought up, but I'm saying sort of 9 times out of 10 there are areas where it just has worked better. So I would always take a realistic approach to it, and I'm certainly not anti-nationalisation. If indeed it's proven to work better, great, fine.
Okay,
You know,
okay. Here's another question, because I love talking about
Oh, don't get into the hypotheticals. I've had enough of them.
I'm not like I don't deal in hypotheticals.
I posted something in the Google Hangouts if you want to talk about it.
No. Like, basically, I'm right. We got 30 minutes, right? Because I mean, I do have school tomorrow, so tomorrow.
Okay.
I mean, in a few hours, right? So I'm going to talk more just generally about the left, because it was Socialist Sunday, right? And I do appreciate the tags, especially Baza. You tagged me earlier, being a socialist, and like what Thomas? What's so funny?
Oh, the article that John's linked. Why does that not surprise me that Jeremy Cunt would say something that incredibly stupid?
Because he's like something from Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
I have to go and eat my dinner quick. I know it's super late, but I won't be long. Literally, like 5 minutes.
Fair enough, but this article would be perfect for you. Let's see, Angels.
No. Okay, I don't want to miss it then. Are you gonna?
We'll save it for you. We'll save it. All right. So hold it in. Can you do that, John and Thomas?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Cool.
By the way, just one quick thing to address
sure.
what Bazza has said in the side chat. No, I'm not playing Fortnite. That's Cameron doing that.
Yeah.
I play Mountain Warband.
Is that what sounded like the football crowd?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh right.
So my question to I suppose to Nikki is how did you find us, like?
I think it was from A Up Let's Talk.
All right. Okay. Cool.
We got a lot of
That's how I found you a lot.
Yeah. And just as an aside on Socialist Sunday, someone's obviously tagged me, because I've got 50 new Twitter followers today.
Yeah, there we go. See? I mean, even I get new followers. It's like a centrist. It's crazy.
Yeah, what I'm going to do next week on next week's social.
It's probably because
I'll say follow these people, but don't follow Annabelle Angels. Like, don't follow her because she's a dirty centrist. Like,
I think it's because Angels. I think it's because we see a lot of socialists here follow you.
That's true. I mean, I actually have tons of like red in the bed followers. It's hilarious.
yeah.
And I also openly say, like, anti both major parties, politically homeless, hashtag sometimes democracy gets it wrong. Like, I am really just an annoying person on, like, Twitter, but apparently, having said that, I can be that and still be a decent person.
Okay, so I'm going to go from left to right. Well, I suppose I should go from left to right. My question is because we're all pretty much on the left, apart from Angels. We're all pretty much on the left, right?
I'm not really.
If you're not a lefty, say no and just exit now. Okay, cool. So
I'm not going to answer that.
No, Angels, you just get a get out of jail free card anyway, because you're Angels. So Bazza, right? For instance, what does socialism mean to you?
What does it mean to me?
Mm. You can
can't say
take it personally, subjectively, if you want, and you want to go through history.
I suppose just the obvious, which is helping other people, helping myself, not being selfish. That's, you know, sharing what you've got, going out of your way to help other people. That's the basics of it, isn't it? Something for me anyway. Whereas like Tories, just they're out for themselves. They're out to make a profit. It's profit before people, and whereas I think socialism's people before profit, and you know, and if somebody's struggling, you give them a hand. And if you know, yeah.
Okay, so John, do you call yourself a socialist? Are you on the left, or do you? I mean,
yeah, I call myself on the socialist. I support social or left-wing like leaders, such politicians such as Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn, and I generally agree with most of the policies.
Mm-hmm. And what does it mean to you?
Let's see, being a socialist.
Ooh. In a sentence, if you can.
One that recognises that, let's see, the state needs to intervene at times for like public services and stuff.
That's interesting. Nikki?
Very similar to Bazza, to be honest. Like the importance of the safety net, and listening to Twitter accounts like Harry's Last Stand, who talk about what life was like before the safety net, before the NHS.
Oh,
yes,
sorry,
fantastic. Both books, yeah, both books.
Can you repeat that name again?
Harry's Last Stand he's Harry Smith, isn't he?
Hang on. I've literally just read his book. Don't let my past be your future.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's the new one.
Finished, yeah, I've literally just finished reading his book. Yeah. What? Yeah. When he talks about what life was like, and it was literally the book that I read before that. I reread The Road to Wigan Pier, and like the comparisons between the two were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to be doing a video about that on Tuesday with Rowan and Matt Cooper. But anyway, yeah, carry on. Okay, so Cameron.
Now, in the discussion about socialism, it's very interesting. Socialism is about giving power back to you. It's not about looking at the big corporations. It's not about looking at state power. It's giving power to yourselves. I mean, you want control of their own futures and their own life. I have control and the free have control and influence over the railways, what's the company best, or the utility company. It's about changing society for the better, for you, and not for the people who run society.
Indeed.
It's quite a simple idea. I mean, think of this. It's empowering communities. Communities that have been trampled at the bottom of society. And empowering them. It's not about giving power to the wealthiest or to bloody fat cats in the city of London. It's about yourselves. It's about giving you and your children a better future. It's about slowly reform society to actually make it feel better. And that's what I feel children should be.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Thomas?
Sorry, I was just away. What was the question?
If you could, your ideas on socialism, if you can do it in a sentence, or
and what it personally means to you.
Yeah, what it means to you.
Basically, what it personally means to me is improving society and helping people and making sure that everybody has a fair and decent chance of being the best person they can be at the end of the day. Is what it means to me. It's about fairness and it's about equity. That's what it should be for me. Equity and equality.
Indeed. I mean, this is something I wrote a few weeks ago for Socialist Sunday, especially with regards to Jeremy Corbyn. I think when people look at the left, they're like, "Oh, you're obviously a Corbynite," and all that shit. I mean, I've spoken and written at length on the ideas of Corbyn and the Labour Party, and if the mainstream media would have their way, Corbyn would resign his post, and we should be without a leader. My question on this Socialist Sunday is, and we are not a person, we are a movement. We are not a politician, we are a peoples. You know, we are the poor, we are not an organization, we are a society. They call us plebs, utopians, and my favorite is the great unwashed. You know, we are not a person, we are not a leader, we are not a politician, we are a movement. And in the words of the immortal Obi-Wan, if you strike us down, we will become more powerful than you can ever imagine. This is what my
I'm sorry, but
go on.
I was going to say, I need to get a token liberal attitude in here. The great unwashed, let's face it, it's fucking rude, but it's a hilarious phrase.
Well, you know, this is it's got legs, you know. I mean, I'm sure I heard this. I'll tell you what, Thomas, when did I hear about the term the great unwashed? Was it either the day before yesterday or the day after?
Wasn't it the day after yesterday?
The day after tomorrow or something?
Or was it the day before tomorrow? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it was definitely one of those days. Anyway, but yeah, let's face it. Jesus was a communist, you know. So let's go forward with that.
Well, actually, I thought that Jesus used to be referred to, at least from when I was younger, as like the ultimate socialist.
He was definitely a communist. Anyway,
Indeed, he was.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this stream quite imminently. But I would like you guys. I would like you guys to just hang out for a bit when we go offline, especially the newbies. Thank you very much for everybody. I would like people to sign off. So Thomas, sign off.
Goodbye, everybody. The only sort of plug that I have, apart from my Twitter that I just put in the side chat, is join the Benite National Party to create a greater, stronger, freer, and prouder Britain.
Yeah, that's what we exactly need.
If you're a woman, however, do not pay any attention to that because you're not allowed to actually join.
Exactly. No bitches allowed.
Officially, as a communist, I should stick, like, put a bomb in his car or something. Anyway, Nikki, sign off.
We should probably also point out that only Kate Ho is allowed to join, but hey.
Yeah. Nikki, sign off.
Yeah, thanks everyone. I am Weebleface on Twitter.
At Weebleface, yes.
John
at Weebleface, yeah.
Weebleface.
I am John Cooper signing off. Pleasure chatting with you all. I look forward to seeing you all in the next Captain Swiss stream on Sunday. Well, we will take the fun out. Well, we take the fun out of him with his Brexit festival with EU flags. Sorry. No.
Okay, Cam.
Right. I do a channel where I do occasional content. You also can follow me on Twitter at Cameron Sarkis 1.
Basa.
Thanks for listening. If you can hear me.
Yeah.
We can hear you, darling.
Yeah. And of course, Angels.
Oh, yeah. So I am late for everything, so therefore I'm not really a content creator. So, however, since I'm a branch off from like Captain Swiss and lots of the original cast, sign up to my channel, which I will shove in the side chat right now, and then I will also add my Twitter, which is at Miss Annabelle Rose. So you might want to sign up and ding the bell because I often do streams. So feel free to join us for them. We sort of discuss.
Generally, these wind down streams are usually shared between me and you, aren't they? Like, if I
Yeah.
don't do one, like you'll do one.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I mean, this Sunday stream and this social Sunday, I've really been humbled at the support that I've been getting with my ideas, and to be honest, I think you're all fucking crazy just in fucking listening to my fucking left wing bullshit. But thank you very much. But yeah, Tuesday afternoon, 3:00, I'm gonna be doing some book reviews. Like, it's going to be a book corner. It's going to be a
bit lovely.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more chilled out than what I normally get up to, because I'm normally quite aggressive and stuff. But it's going to be cool, and so yeah, come join me on my channel on Tuesday. But like I said, you guys, every one of you on the panel, please stay there and let's have a private chat a bit. But anyway, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.